What's going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck. We are here. We are here. We are here. Okay. So, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for who tuned into the live we just finished up with Nature Boy, the watch party on the fantastic series by Hood Horror. Shout out to Hood Horrors for Nature Boy and the Carbonation Cult, where this man is now, Nature Boy is in jail for the rest of his life plus 10 years. And God, we thank you for it. But we have a fantastic show lined up for our main event, and then we're gonna go into our members only movie time. Superman. Y'all got my cape. You ready? I'm so excited for Superman. I have no idea what to do. Put my cape on. Superman. I'm so ready. So until then, we're gonna have some fun in members only. Okay. And this movie is not like available online or anything. It's part of my HBO thing. So it costs to pay for that. So I want to have a good time with you guys and members only. And that is going to start at, I want to push up the time if I can, instead of 9 p.m. to start it at 8:30. That would be great. Because I'm just excited to see the movie. But in the meantime, we've got some things to talk about with Candace Owens. So we have 3 videos where you had some experts do an analysis on her in specific areas. And one, we're going to kick it off with Dr. Todd Grande. He goes over kind of like a profile of how she is responding and handling the news of getting the lawsuit from the Macrons. So I'm telling you all right now, 3 different experts pretty much saying the same thing is something else. It's not a coincidence. It's a pattern. So we're going to check out those 3 videos. We have Dr. Todd Grande. Then we have, I want to make sure I have the Dr. G Explains, and then Prosopa Insights. And so they all give their analysis of her. And Dr. Todd Grande speaks specifically from the lawsuit, but I wish he would just do a full, like a psych profile on her and be done with it. I actually tried to see if he had done one where he just does a general profile on her. I haven't seen a video, but he does touch on his analysis regarding the actual defamation lawsuit from the Macron. So before we get to that, I want to get to and we're going to talk more about this tomorrow with John Wilson. That's going to be a guest here in the Lady Luck Club from Revealed Radio Network. Shout out to him. We're going to go over his video and then just kind of go over a couple videos from Milk Bar TV where, I mean, her contradictions, her hypocrisies, and the conspiracy theories are out of control. And so they're out of control now to the point where they're becoming dangerous. And why I say that? Well, I'm going to show you all. So I showed a clip on, and I want to pull up this article. What's going on, Laura? I'm sorry. Let me give a shout out to everybody. What's Manny, Francisca up in here. Shout out to my mods, Manny. Shout out to Laura, my mods. Hey, Bougie Barbie, how you doing? What's going on? Hope everybody is doing well. Happy Saturday, you guys. We're kicking back today, and we're going to culminate the evening with our members only live. Superman is on the menu. Hope everybody's good. Laura, you here with us, girl? How you doing, honey? I'm going to miss you. Listen, we have this article here. And this goes to show how dangerous, and this is something that I've spoken of previously in about 2 or 3 different videos covering Candace. I even have videos on the dangers of her conspiracy theories. This is how dangerous it's gotten now. Okay? So this is from totalnews.com Texas man, this was back on October 22nd, 3 days ago. Texas man faces charges in Florida for making death threats against 4 Jewish conservatives. And you guys see here, this is the man, and I think this is Laura Loomer. This is Josh Hammer. I'm not quite sure who that is. Is that Steve Crowder? I don't know who that is. There is, okay, so let me just read the article. Texas man charged with online. I was trying to point out who he is, but I don't follow these people like that. I've done a video about Josh Hammer, and I was like, please sue her because of the defamation. I don't think I've ever covered a video with Laura Loomer or anything, so, but I don't think it's right for anybody to be out making threats because they're listening to Candace Owens. And this is where we are now here in life. I don't care who it is. No one should have that much influence over their cult-like following to where people are going out and doing heinous stuff in the name of that individual, in the name of some mere mortal who did not die on a cross for you. And if you profess to be a Christian, you would think you would not go out and do something in the name of a mere man or woman. That would be called idol worship. You're idolizing this person. And you're trying to say, I'm going to go out and do something in the name of this person. That influence should not be that embedded in anyone to influence anyone to do anything. But Candace has been so dangerous between her doxing, between her targeting, between her willingness to harass, between her conspiracy theories and accusations. It incites and triggers people to anger and to do things that basically violate the law. Online death threats. He's being charged with online death threats. I don't care what ethnicity or religion or race you are, man or woman, boy or girl. No one has the right to have death threats sent out to someone or sent out on them because they're being targeted because of their ethnicity. It's like Candace Owens forgets. Black people experience that here in the United States of America. We were targeted because of the color of our skin. And see, she doesn't have to worry about this stuff because she's, first of all, out here perpetuating this nonsense. 1 and 2, she's got money. She's got the ability to hire, security and to get safety and everything in place for her and her children. She don't have to worry about somebody just walking up to her and doing something crazy. Thank you, Jennifer. It's Seth Dillon. Thank you so much. And shout out to you, Jennifer. How you doing? Veterans for Truth. You guys, listen. I was done with Candace when she started blaming the United States military, for assassinating Charlie Kirk. I was done then. I was like, you're out of your mind. Every active duty member and veteran should be angry at her, should be pissed and annoyed and speaking out. What an insult. People who have served this country to protect our borders, and you're sitting here insinuating the entire U.S. military has something to do with Charlie Kirk's death. You can't make this stuff up. But yet, I don't see Candace out here trying to retrace the steps of the shooter. She's not being boots on the ground anywhere. When is Candace going to go over to Gaza Strip, be boots on the ground over there and go do some reporting over there? I don't think anybody should innocently, lose their lives, especially talking about children and people who are innocent. No, they shouldn't lose their lives. They shouldn't lose their lives anywhere. Which is why it disturbs me just as much as it disturbs me what's going on in any country where innocent lives are being lost. It disturbs me as to why this Texas man felt the need to send online death threats to people who he doesn't even know. He doesn't have to take care of them. He doesn't have to pay their bills. He doesn't have to feed them. He doesn't have to pay their mortgage. He doesn't have to take care of their children. He could literally live his life and not know any of these people, and it wouldn't make a difference. So who gave him the authority to say that he had the right to sit here and even contemplate taking their life? And all because of his influence from Candace Owens. Someone whom, if you were living in the South in the 50s and 60s, you would be going through some things you would not want to go through because of the color of your skin. But you turn around and you have people targeted because they're Jewish. You can't make this stuff up. It's like history repeating itself with various groups now because she's saying dumb things that make no sense with no evidence to support it. Candace, where is that damn gag order? Where is the gag order you said you are bound by that you're going to violate? In order to violate a gag order, you have to be bound by a gag order. You have to be under the restrictions of a gag order. Where's the gag order? Why would she put that out there? None of the candy asses are even thinking about this. They're not asking the questions like, can you just post up the gag order to shut everybody up? Because what I saw was a protection order. It didn't have her name in it. I even said, and I try my best to show if there is a connection. The only way she will be bound by that particular protection order would be is if she is a witness. Because she's not a consultant. She's certainly not an attorney or work for the court or anything. And her candy asses was still coming at me like there's no gag order. I know that. The whole point of this is to get her to post it out. It's to point out her lying ass nonsense. Her hypocrisy. Her saying this. I didn't post a post up on Twitter X. She did. And I went on Twitter X. If you all see at LadyLuckClubLLC, make sure you all like this video and hit subscribe. And then follow me over on Twitter X. And if you follow me, I will follow you back. But if you look at the post over there, I asked repeatedly to post up for her to post up the gag order. Post the damn gag order. What gag order are you bound by? And why would you want to be bound by a gag order? Why would you want to invoke yourself in a gag order? If you're not a witness, Candace, then what gag order are you being forced to be are you upholding? Just post it up. It's that simple. This is what she does to get attention. And now look what you've done, Candace. You're influencing people to send online death threats because of your stupid conspiracy theories. So let's get to it. I'll drop the link to this in the chat so y'all can read it. And then, news is news. You can Google this. It's everywhere. It's posted on Twitter X as well. That's where I first saw it. And then I decided to do some research and look up some articles on this. So, a man from Texas has been charged for making online threats against several prominent Jewish conservative media personalities, including columnist Carol Markowitz, CEO of the Babylon Bee, Seth Dillon. So that's Seth Dillon here. And Newsweek editors Josh Hammer and Laura Loomer. This is Josh Hammer. Is this Laura Loomer? Or is this the other lady? Who's going to get a clue? Everybody speak to everybody, by the way. I'm sorry. Welcome in, everybody. I appreciate you all for tuning in. 37 people watching. Hit the like button for me and subscribe to the Lady Luck Club if not subscribed. We were at 28,500. Now we're at 28,499. I don't know what the heck happened with that one. But if you have not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so I can see that 28,500 come back up. That would just be a blessing. Subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. And then consider becoming a member, especially if you want to watch Superman tonight. Let's see here. What's going on with you? What's going on with you? Get a clue. How you doing? There's the link for the article, you guys. She has an inflated sense of importance. Exactly. And no one needs this nonsense from Candace Owens. Candace, no one needs your nonsense right now. Post up the gag order, girl. Laura, thank you so much. Shout out to my mods. Don't forget to check out the Dr. Squash products that will be tagged in the description of the video. We have a partnership with them. Soap and deodorants and toiletries and shaving cream and all these things that you can utilize or for yourself or for your loved ones, the gentlemen in your families. And the shaving cream, the products smell good. They get you clean and fresh. Make sure you get you some Dr. Squash products today. Check the description of the video where the products will be tagged. And I do receive a commission from the sales, but you got to purchase the product tagged in the description. All right, let's get back to it. Jennifer said Laura and Candace used to be good friends before she got big. She even helped Candace come up with its wilds, how quickly she throws people away. Yeah. I mean, look how she handled this Phil Lyman person. And Phil Lyman was just, he just so happened to be there. Like he went out and retraced the steps. He was there when Charlie Kirk was shot. So he went back with a cousin or his nephew and a couple of others, and he retraced the steps of the shooter. And because he did that, then Candace made him a target. And someone had to come out and basically speak to his character to show that he would never do something like that, because she was insinuating that he had something to do with it simply because he chose to go out and retrace the steps of the shooter. As if no one else cared about Charlie Kirk. Candace Owens has been completely insane and possessive regarding Charlie Kirk. And it seemed like if she couldn't take control of him in life, she's trying to take control of him in death. Does that make sense? Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? She couldn't be with him the way she wanted to be with him in life. So this is her being possessive over him in death, as if he doesn't have a wife and 2 children and parents and people that loved him and other friends. He had a whole company. So anybody that tries to even remotely get close to this investigation, even, she, look how she treats them. The FBI, the CIA, the police, the doctors, the surgeons, the mortician, everyone that's involved. It's like they become a target. This is her way of trying to, and this is just my opinion, take possession control over him. And he's not here to defend himself. And Erica Kirk, poor thing. I mean, I'm glad she's not like responding to her like that, tick for tack sort of thing, because there is a level of grace and tact that you do need in this type of situation. She's still mourning the loss of her husband, father of her children. I'm sure she considered her husband to be her best friend. And she's still trying to hold it together for the kids. And now she's the CEO of Turning Point. The last thing she wants to worry about is Candace Owens and the nonsense and the buffoonery that comes with it. And yet, this woman is not even allowed a moment's peace to grieve and to keep living her life. Whether you liked Erica Kirk or not is irrelevant to the fact that Charlie Kirk married her. She did not hold a gun to his head. And they had 2 kids together. Those are facts. And now she's the CEO of Turning Point USA. So obviously no one's feelings about her and how they feel about her personally, whether she was crying or not. All that nonsense is irrelevant. It does not stop her from being the widow and the mother of his 2 kids and the CEO of Turning Point USA. It doesn't stop it. Then, so if Erica Kirk has to respond, I've always said this. Hopefully she responds with an attorney, because Candace Owens has lost her mind. Now she's blaming Trump. You just can't make this stuff up. That's what it seems like. Yeah, thank you so much for the link. Manny, this is Jennifer LaFontaine link. You guys make sure you check out Jennifer's YouTube channel. Appreciate you for tuning in. Let's go show some love and check out her content. Give her a like and let her know that LLC sent you. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for tuning in as well. I appreciate that. And I mean, clearly, it's so unbelievable. Candace, you got people out here threatening people in your name. Nicholas Ray, a resident of Spring, Texas, faces 12 charges in Florida. He's a resident of Spring, Texas. So what's going to happen is, since he's decided to ruin his life, on behalf of Candace Owens. And Candace Owens is not going to get him an attorney or send his family any money, make sure he's able to fight these charges. She probably doesn't care that he exists. So since he's a resident of Spring, Texas, he's going to have to face these charges in Florida where the crime occurred, or in Florida, basically. Even though he posted this stuff online. So how do you think that's going to go for him in Florida? After allegedly posting threats on X under the username at Zionist are scum? What? Am I saying that right? At Zionist or scum between October 8th and 10th, as revealed in a probable cause affidavit. The affidavit dated October 18 states that Ray made a threat to hang Loomer from the Capitol and the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., claiming she was a Mossad operative. Are you kidding? These people are crazy. He also made wild accusations against Hammer of plotting with a foreign government to kill someone named Charlie. Used racial slurs, labeled Newsweek's editor-in-chief a traitor, and said he should literally be killed by a firing squad. He doesn't even know this man. This man doesn't have to take care of him or pay his bills or anything. Ray ominously warned, I'll definitely take you. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but you're living on borrowed time and you know it. For what? No proof, no evidence of anything. And if you had proof of evidence, you think they would just go to the police with it? What's going on where we think we could just take someone's life? Who gave you the authority to do that? Not based on the God I serve. Well, you can just take someone's life on your own accord. What type of nonsense is this? You hear people like this, they do stuff like this, and then they claim to be Christians here. God hasn't given you the authority to sit here and take someone else's life. It's disgusting. Additionally, both Dylan and Markowitz are accused of conspiring with Israel, whatever that means, regarding the assassination of someone named Kirk on September 10, and also of genocide in Gaza, because, blanket words and things that Candace is saying. Ray further posted warnings that all four will be killed soon and that traitors will be hanged. Are we talking about traitors against the U.S. here? Because you're talking about between a conflict between Palestinians and Israel. What does it have to do with the United States? Traitors of what? You're not talking about traitors of the U.S. Charlie was a person, not a country. I'll say it again. Charlie Kirk was a person, not a country. So, what if you didn't support him? And you were Jewish, you just didn't watch his content? What type of fealty or loyalty does one think that someone is owed? A mere mortal is owed. To where if you feel like this person is betraying someone, now you have the right to take their life by hanging? Traitor to what? So they don't deserve to live in peace because you think that they're a traitor to something. So are we going to worship mere mortals, or is it Jesus Christ here? How does this go if you claiming to be a Christian? I don't understand. No human is God. I don't get it. Candace is not God. Charlie Kirk was not God. He was a man. He was a human being. He was a U.S. citizen. He supported Israel. That's it. Just a human being. Why are we idolizing these people? Oh, boy. On Tuesday, Loomer shared Ray's mugshot from Montgomery County Jail in Texas prior to his extradition to Florida on felony charges because they extradite you back to the state where the crime was committed. So, naturally speaking, he's going to be facing this stuff in Florida. He accuses me of being a foreign agent and says I will be killed, Loomer stated, emphasizing her status as a U.S. citizen and attributing the threats to radicalization uh, fueled by I'm sorry, I got a message popped up. Online conspiracy theories from Candace Owens. And I'm adding that in there. Y'all don't see it here, but in my opinion, that's where it belongs. She noted they think they can get away with inciting political violence because they're using anonymous accounts, suggesting Ray's perspective was influenced by various podcasters promoting divisive views. Dylan commented that he started receiving threats while writing articles for the Free Press. He emphasized threats should not be an accepted part of working in media, echoing similar sentiments from Markowitz. The later expressed concern about the normalization of such threats, noting the societal implications, and highlighted that Florida's Attorney General is addressing these issues. The U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi recently announced that a second individual had been arrested for making death threats against another conservative commentator, Benny Johnson, describing it as a disturbing attempt to emulate Kirk's murder. Kirk, who was just 31, was tragically killed during a college debate at Utah Valley University, later being honored posthumously with the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Trump. Yeah, this is not a game or joke. You're talking about people's lives here. And here's another article you guys can check out and read. They include the some of the posts that was on Twitter X. The Florida Attorney General James Youthmeyer announced on X last week, our Office of Statewide Prosecution was notified of multiple specific death threats made to Jewish conservative media members who live in Florida. After an investigation, we obtained an arrest warrant for Nicholas Ray of Spring, Texas. So, because the residence of these individuals is in Florida, they are going to have him extradited, and he's going to face these charges in the state based on the victim's residence. Ray is now in custody and will be extradited to Florida to face charges of extortion, written threats to kill, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Because he created the fake profile. Y'all know that's illegal, right? That's a cybercrime. You're creating fake profiles and stuff to go out and threaten people, and then to try to cover up your information so that it doesn't trace back to you. That's unlawful. That's illegal. You can't do that. You can't make this stuff up. These people are willing to set themselves up to go to jail for many years to come over this. You can't make this stuff up. So here's the link for that article. This is from IsraelNationalNews.com. And there are other articles out there as well. I'm looking for the affidavit myself because I would rather read the court document. So while we're checking out this video, I have 3 that speaks to, the assessments that have been done on Candace. Yeah, it's eye-opening, and it brings things into perspective as far as her mentality and just the fact that she's slowly losing her mind and growing more insane every day. And now it's about to become a security concern for many because of the dangerous and insightful rhetoric that she's throwing out so frivolously, talking about free press and free speech. No, it's not free speech when people's lives are being put in danger. Everything is not covered under free speech. If you're cyber harassing and bullying, you're doxing people. You have people creating fake profiles, cyber stalking others, leaving death threats. Your free speech, your right to what you claim to be free speech, is gone because now you're putting people's lives in danger. And because she's doing it on such a national scale, she's going to end up being a national security risk. When you start insinuating that a president and the United States military is involved in the death of a civilian that we all witnessed on national television, that some people were there in person, witnessed with their own two eyes, you're inching your way towards becoming a national security threat. This is why the High Court of Australia said you cannot come here and upheld the visa ban. They didn't reverse it because they accurately stated you're saying things that are going to incite rage and violence within certain sectors of the communities. And we're protecting our people over here. The United States of America might want to start thinking about doing that as well here, because Americans don't deserve this type of nonsense. This is out of control. Candace Owens is getting out of control and becoming an ever-increasing threat because she thinks that free speech involves her candy-ass supporters, her cult members, going out making death threats to others because she's inciting them to this level of rage and violence. And if she's being connected to this, don't you think that this Nicholas Ray person is saying that to the investigators? He's going to get in there and say, well, I've been listening to a lot of Candace Owens lately, and, she's the one saying all these things. How else are they connecting him to her? Unless he's telling them. Candace, are you going to get this boy out of jail or hire him an attorney or what? You got people doing things in your name, not caring about laws being broken. He's being extradited on felony charges to a whole nother state to answer to those charges in the state of Florida. Are you going to pay for his legal services? How's that going to go? Because clearly you're going to be taking care of a lot of people if you got them thinking that they have the right to go out and just threaten others online. You have them looking for people who are older males with long hair that can be put in a ponytail or a man bun. What do you mean? Why are you profiling people like this? Going after Josh Hammer and Phil Lyman and talking about airplanes because you don't understand how airplanes work or black boxes. It's just madness and insanity. Whether you like the president or not, why are you sitting here talking about he has something to do with this death with no evidence? You're pushing your way to becoming a national security threat. The Secret Service, if anything else, should be paying her a visit. Because if this is what's coming from her insightful speech, death threats to already 4 or 5 people now, 2 people have been charged and taken into custody. How do you think that the Secret Service is going to take that when she's now insinuating Trump is involved? It's like, well, they're out here threatening all these other folks. What's to stop her base from threatening the president? I mean, it's just ridiculous. None of this stuff is making any sense. And it's like at some point, she's got to snap out of it and say, I've got a husband and 4 kids I could be tending to. Not sitting here acting as if I'm the only person that can control the story of Charlie Kirk's death. Like no one else can talk about it but her. Candace, you're out of your mind. And all of this is going to catch up to you in ways you're not going to like. And like the High Court of Australia, the U.S. is going to be doing some things to tell your ass to shut up or else. When you're saying things that are getting people death threats. Because no one deserves that. Where's the damn gag order? That's all I'm waiting for. I want to see the gag order. This gag order you said you were going to violate. Please violate that gag order. You got an order out here that's signed by a judge from a court of law. Please violate that order. Judges aren't for play, girl. Violate that order, Candace. Let's see how big, bad, and bold you are. You can't make this stuff up. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to the Lady Luck Club, go ahead and subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. We're trying to hit 30,000 supporters here. 30,000 Lucksters that enjoy, just facts, evidence, and just raw commentary. Because at this point, I'm on one. Once she insinuated the U.S. military, I don't know what active duty member or veteran should not be pissed at her for insinuating something so ridiculous. It's an insult. It's an insult. So thank you all so much for tuning in. We're about to get to the videos. I just had to show the articles so you all can understand how serious this is and how dangerous this is, and why the High Court of Australia said, we don't have time for your nonsense. Bye, Felicia, and don't come back. And the U.S. needs to start making some similar changes as well. They need to start putting some things in place. If not, people are going to get hurt, because what Candace Owens cannot do is control her base. Candace can't control 5 million candy asses out here. She's not. And you have some people that are willing to go there and do some very heinous things. I'm being accused of being paid by Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu, you owe me some money, bro. You owe me some money, bro. I don't even know how that's a bad thing, by the way. I mean, if someone was to, we have a $25 goal. Those same people that accuse me of being paid by Israel, though, they won't contribute towards that $25 goal we have every live stream for the expenses of the channel. They don't drop no supers or anything. Cash App scrolling below if y'all want to hit the Cash App. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're going to sit here and say you shouldn't be taking money from Israel for reasons unknown, go ahead and hit the Cash App and send some supers. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. No, I'm not. But, you know, whatever. Benjamin Netanyahu owes me some money. You owe me some money, man. 70,000 times sevenfold or something like that, plus 144,000. Yeah, y'all owe me a lot of bank. It's just so nuts. Can we call this guy and his fellow conspirator gullible or stupid? She isn't going to defend him for his actions. Exactly. Not at all. Gar, why didn't the FBI give you the case? That's so sus. What? Candace thinks she's the CIA now. So, you know, if I listen, I don't have 5 million supporters. I have 28,500 Lucksters here. But I understand when when it's from journalism to just flat out insanity. Like Candace is on insanity level right now. She's lost her mind and she's no longer with us. And I just wish she would take her body wherever her mind has gone. Candace, if you're on like planet Pluto or something like, or Saturn, if you're on Saturn, can you just come make sure your body goes with you? You're not here with us. You're not on Earth anymore. She's gone. It's so crazy. George, come get your wife. What's going on, Faith? Shout out to you as well, Sophia. I appreciate you coming. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Y'all hit this like button. Hit this like button. Let's keep this video up in the algorithm as well. Information here you guys can research about those who are out here, you know, just out here making death threats because Candace Owens said something. All right, y'all ready for Dr. Todd Grande? Thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, thank you, Amethyst, for the $5 super. I think she recorded her video from a rehab facility. White walls, no insulation, no makeup, no hairstyle or added hair, no jewelry. If you know, you know. Epic. If you know, you know. Please tell me that's what IYK is. If you know, you know. Shout out to you, Amethyst. I appreciate the $5 super. Thank you so much, you all. $5 towards our $25 goal. That's how you do it. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. S-Files, what's going on? I was thinking mental facility, but yeah, it was screaming facility. Exactly. All right, y'all. Let's get to Dr. Todd Grande in here. What he has to say. Hit the like button on this content. Let's go.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today, I will analyze the case of Candace Owens and Brigitte Macron. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the summary of the lawsuit, then offer my analysis. Candace Owens was born in 1989 in White Plains, New York. She was raised in Stamford, Connecticut. In 2007, she graduated from high school. Candace went to college, but she dropped out during her junior year. In 2015, Candace started a marketing agency which featured anti-conservative and anti-Trump content. In 2016, she started a website project where she planned on running public shaming campaigns. These would have involved republishing offensive posts to the website and identifying people who made the posts. The idea was controversial, and the website was never created. The outrage against Candace led to her becoming a conservative. She said that she realized that liberals were actually the racists and the trolls. In August 2017, Candace Owens started a YouTube channel where she posted conservative and pro-Trump content, the opposite of what she had promoted before. She became popular among some Republicans and even considered running for office. For example, she was interested in becoming a senator, a governor, or even the president of the United States. Starting in 2021, Candace hosted a show on the Daily Wire. She was fired in March 2024. After this, she started a new YouTube channel where she posted far-right content. The channel promotes a number of well-known conspiracy theories and many other bizarre beliefs. She has interviewed people like Andrew Tate, Alex Jones, and Russell Brand. At the time I'm making this video, Candace Owens has about 4.5 million subscribers. Here are a few examples of her video titles that I think sum up her channel pretty well. Rappers expose demonic agenda in music. Former CIA officer exposes the shadow government. The shocking satanic origins of NASA. More shocking revelations about 9/11. Feminism is the #1 attack on family. Candace reacts to childless woman. And I got a legal threat from a sitting president. The last video title brings me to the topic of this video. In March of 2024, Candace Owens made a bizarre claim about a woman named Brigitte Macron, who was the wife of Emmanuel Macron, the president of France. Candace falsely claimed that Brigitte was actually a man. Brimming with confidence, Candace stated that she would stake her entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is, in fact, a man.
And that's where she messed up. The line between journalism and you sitting here talking about some nonsense that can lead you to a defamation lawsuit was crossed the moment she said the fact. It was no longer an opinion, Candace. If you don't know how journalism works, I suggest you study and read up on it since you're a college dropout. She's a college dropout. She dropped out of college. That's not even an insult. That's a point of fact. You dropped out of college, Candace. And as opposed to you studying and reading and sharing knowledge and information with people, all of the video titles he just read either invoked some level of violence, fear, division, confusion, or conspiracy. None of it is informative. None of it is intellectually stimulating or anything. It doesn't invoke, healthy dialogue or conversation. It invokes rage and anger and division. And yet she claims to be a conservative. All her content seems to do nothing but divide. How is any of that conservative? You talk about extreme topics that most people on average don't even think about. You can't make this stuff up.
That seems like a pretty low wager to me. Not a very exciting bet. In July 2025, Emmanuel and Brigitte filed a 219-page lawsuit against Candace, alleging defamation. Here is a summary of the lawsuit. Brigitte Macron was born on April 13, 1953, in France. She was born a woman, and she was the youngest of 6 children. Her family was prominent in the chocolate manufacturing business. She married her first husband in 1974 and had 3 children. Brigitte started teaching at a Catholic high school in the early 1990s. There she met Emmanuel Macron. He was 15 years old. Through the school's theater program, Brigitte and Emmanuel developed a deeper intellectual connection. At all times, the teacher-student relationship remained within the bounds of the law. Even so, when Emmanuel's parents found out about his strong feelings for Brigitte, they transferred him to a school in Paris. Emmanuel went to college and earned a master's degree. He started working as a finance inspector. In 2006, Brigitte divorced her husband. In 2007, she married Emmanuel. Brigitte was 54 and Emmanuel was 29. Emmanuel went on to have incredible success. He worked as an investment banker and economic advisor to the president of France, was appointed Minister of the Economy, and in May 2017, he was elected president of France. The lawsuit indicated that his wife Brigitte is a strong, independent woman who refuses to be limited by traditional roles.
So let me pause right there. First thing, let's give a shout out to Amethyst. 30 days in dual diagnosis facility followed by continuous sobriety since December 2003. Congratulations to you. We celebrate these pivotal points in our lives where we can, look up and see the positive changes being made here. And that's what it's about. Living healthy and happy and whole. You know, so congratulations to you for that. All right. And for those if you need help, please get help. Candace Owens, whether she needs help or not, her conduct is still reckless. It doesn't change the fact that her conduct, the things that she's saying, is reckless. It's dangerous. I've been saying that. I said that the moment she said something, oh, the U.S. military got something to do with it, I was like, that's so reckless and dangerous. You have no idea. And why in the world would the entire United States Armed Forces have that much attention focused on one person? Of all of the millions of Americans living here in the US, the entire US Armed Forces somehow is going to get in on some conspiracy involving the death of one civilian. This is the obsession that she has with Charlie Kirk. And it's like it's coming out because he died. But see, what was all the support for him when he was alive? How often did she have him on her show? Instead of her doing dumb episodes about Martians and all this nonsense and something with Man on the Moon, why didn't you have Charlie Kirk on the show? Why didn't you have a couples session where you and your husband, Candace, that you're married to, named George Farmer, do a dual episode with Charlie Kirk and his wife? Why didn't you have them on your show and vice versa, where you guys could sit down and talk about, different aspects of marriages, talk about what it's like to have a family, what it's like to raise your kids and still have these careers, what it's like to have, the conservative principles and still maintain your marriage and still have fun. You know, why couldn't you talk about those things? Those things would have been just as interesting. But no, Candace was chasing the views and the subscribers. She was chasing the numbers, the money. And look where it's landed her. Now you're being connected to a man that has lost his mind and made online death threats to people because they were Jewish. You are single-handedly repeating history for various groups of communities in many countries, Candace, because of your divisive rhetoric, your stupid conspiracy theories. Let's not forget the communistic bees here. She said something about bees because you just can't make that crap up. The communistic bees was a thing. I mean, any and everyone that shows any interest in it is a problem. You can't make this up. Candace had a horrible obsession with Charlie Kirk. And you have to remember, like, this might be why he didn't marry her. Like, I'm sure at some point Candace felt hard for Charlie Kirk. And he was like, you're just a sister from another mother. But never really went there with her. And she probably didn't like it. He did not force Erica Kirk, nor did Erica Kirk force him to marry her. That's why I said, regardless of what people think about Erica Kirk, it's irrelevant. At the end of the day, he married Erica Kirk and had 2 children with her, not Candace Owens. And it seems like she's bitter about that. And now he's no longer here. He's not here to defend himself. And she's just defiling his memory. It's so disgusting and egregious. She's no longer asking questions or trying to actually, create dialogue that most people are wondering when it comes to aspects of this investigation here, such as how did the weapon get on the roof? Why was that not listed in the indictment? But see, I can pull questions from the actual documents that exist. She's pulling stuff out of thin air from another planet. It's so crazy. Thank you, Columbus. Shout out to you. Look, Amethyst said, I'm just asking questions, Candace. We're just asking questions. Thank you, Columbus. A good topic would be raising biracial children in a conservative political genre. There you go. She could have had Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk on her show at any time and did, like once a month, did like a couples session or something. You really friends with these people? Why didn't you have them on your show? When Charlie died, why didn't you bring on Erica Kirk on your show, Candace? Why didn't you bring Erica Kirk on your show, Candace? Why was that something so difficult? Let me make sure this is my best friend. He was my brother, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to bring on Erica Kirk and let her have the floor. She can have an hour to say whatever she feels, whatever she wants to say. This hopefully will be therapeutic for her. She can get some things off her chest, let her vent. Why could she do that much? Y'all, are any of you wondering this? She never had Erica Kirk on her show at any given time. Ma was in, I think Candy wanted him and he rebuked her. And that's where her animosity and jealousy of him and Erica started. I think so too. That's my honest opinion with this. I think Candace Owens fell in love with Charlie Kirk. And because he didn't want to be with her, things got, rocky. And then she started acting up. And then that led to her being, kicked out of the group from Turning Point USA. And then, of course, she went working for Daily Wire. It seems like they were still looking out for her. And then she got fired from there. And now here we are. Because it's like she's trying to prove a point and not necessarily, if she calls herself an investigative journalist or whatever, she's not doing anything like that. Saying that it is a fact that someone was born with a penis with no scientific evidence to support that, you're not investigating anything. You're just throwing out more dumb conspiracy theories that landed you in court, which is exactly where you belong, Candace. And guess what? If Josh Hammer and Laura Loomer and Seth Dillon and anyone else that wanted to file a lawsuit against you for defamation decided to do so, they would have a case against you, Candace. They will have a good case. Phil Lyman, his cousin, they will have a good case against you. All these companies you've been doxing because of a pipeline or pipe, they will have a great case against you. You're subjecting these people to being cyber harassed and bullied and stalked and threatened with their lives online. They will tear your ass up in court. And George will be like, honey, we have another lawsuit again. We can't keep doing this. All because she doesn't know how to control herself. I just had to get this out. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Y'all engage in the chat. Speak to everybody. It's 95 people watching. Please hit that like button and make sure you have subscribed to the Lady Luck Club. Let's get up to 30,000. And let's send Candace Owens a message about how she's going to have to answer and be held accountable for her nonsense. Candace, where's the gag order? I want to see it. Post it up, girl. Because you said you under some gag order. You're going to violate it. Yeah, go ahead and piss the judge off in a court of law that signed any order for you to follow. Yeah, piss him off. See what happens.
On March 2021, a self-described independent journalist named Natasha Ray posted on Facebook claiming that Brigitte was a transgender woman perpetrating identity theft. A few months later, Natasha and another individual published an article in a far-right magazine making the same claim. In December 2021, Natasha appeared on a YouTube channel operated by a self-described spiritual medium named Amadine Roy. During a 4-hour interview, Natasha repeated the defamatory claim, stating that Brigitte was born a male and stole the identity of Brigitte. In September 2024, a French court ruled that Natasha and Amadine defamed Brigitte. The court overturned this judgment in July 2025, and the case is under appeal, but the reason for overturning the judgment was not based on the statements being true. Candace Owens used the false claims made by Natasha and Ahmadine as the basis for her own defamation campaign against Brigitte. The false claims were promoted in several ways. For example, on her podcast, which is titled Candace, on her YouTube channel, and during interviews with various people like Piers Morgan. She even sold a t-shirt featuring Brigitte on a fake Time magazine Man of the Year cover. Emmanuel and Brigitte sent a retraction demand to Candace in December 2024. Instead of retracting the false claims, Candace tried to use the demand letter to gain more attention. She told her viewers all about it, although she misrepresented what it contained. For example, Candace claimed that the Macrons strenuously requested that she not publicize the demand letter. This is an exaggeration. The first page of the letter had the heading, confidential, not for publication or attribution. This hardly seems like a strenuous request. Undeterred by the demand letter, Candace launched an 8-part series in January 2025. Here are some of the false claims that Candace made in this series. Brigitte was born a man, stole another person's identity, and transitioned to become Brigitte. The Macrons are surrounded by criminals who intimidate people who are trying to expose the truth. Brigitte wore scarves when she was a teacher to hide signs of surgeries she had to make her look more feminine. She and her husband are blood relatives committing incest. Emmanuel was selected to serve as the president of France as part of a CIA-operated MK Ultra program.
Of all the things that Candace wants to talk about, she wants to talk about CIA Ultra stuff involving science and chemistry, because she dropped out of college and all. Topics she would not be able to understand herself. Candace, why did you drop out of college? I'm curious. Why didn't you go back to school? You need an education, because this whole investigative journalism thing you think you're doing is not working out. It's not working out. You're causing people to get charged with felonies now. The High Court of Australia was absolutely spot on by banning your visa and by saying you cannot come to their country because you have the ability to incite rage and anger and violence, death threats, and buffoonery. See, I can handle the candy asses because, trolls are going to be trolls. They want to accuse me of being paid all day, fine. But how does that lead one to a death threat? What is this betrayal here? Now I want to get to a couple comments that I saw. I want to thank you guys for engaging in the chat. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Leave your thoughts here in the chat. Go for it. Ebony, what's going on? Said Candace is a maniac. How Kanye called his bipolar his superpower. Candace took his advice and went off her meds. Seems like it's like she doesn't even have kids and a husband anymore. I'm wondering if Candace got married to George Farmer in 18 days because they touted that like that was something cool. That's weird to me. I don't care who you are. You met someone and you were engaged to them within 18 days of knowing them. I'm wondering if she did that because she wanted to make Charlie Kirk jealous and then realized it didn't work. But then, now you're married and you're just going to keep making babies. Now you got 4 kids with him. Because there is no way her husband deep down should feel good about her obsessing like this over this man's death for 6 weeks straight. Every day, 6 weeks straight. Unless she's putting on one hell of a show. Even if she cried and mourned his loss, 6 weeks straight. Can you imagine this? She actually, behind the camera, is out getting tips and calls and emailing and all this stuff. How are you spending time with your children? How are you having mommy and daddy time here? You think he's going to want to sit and listen to you talk about him all day, every day for 6 weeks straight? 6 weeks, people. That man had to feel so neglected, it's not even funny. 6 weeks straight. Not a break. It's an obsession. It's unhealthy. What's going on, Lisa? Yep, a woman scorned. She's also cashing in on her best friend's death. She is not a Christian, therefore, she doesn't understand how a woman of God mourns her martyred husband. And to see what you see with Erica Kirk is, her maintaining, her dignity, her posture, her demeanor. She's not out here all over Twitter X or Instagram doing videos and posting up messages and responding to Candace. She's not doing any of that. Even with her being in mourning when she received the Medal of Freedom on behalf of her husband here from the president, she was very reserved, even very careful in what she said. And it was very just a somber moment. And you felt that. Even if I didn't watch Charlie Kirk's videos or content or anything, but I'm not too far detached from reality to where I can't feel for someone that's lost their husband. Doesn't matter what they believe. A man was murdered, taken out in front of a whole crowd of people all over national television. And you have her having to now play these multiple roles where she still has to stay strong for her kids. She's a mother. And it's like Candace Owens is making a mockery of it and not taking into any consideration or thought about how Erica Kirk feels in any of this. And yet she said the only two people that can tell her to shut up is Erica Kirk or George Farmer. Erica Kirk is not stunning you, Candace. She's not going to sit here and tell you to shut up. She shouldn't have to. And George Farmer could have already said that. He could have already said, you know what, dear, I need you to shut up. Can you just shut up? He may have said it and she just ignored him. Who knows? Candace is very dominated. She seems to be dominating that household too. He may have told her, not tonight, dear. Not tonight. But you have no idea, George. The CIA, they're not doing a great job. Dear. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm sorry they're not, you feel like they're not, doing a good job for you. I don't know what to say. George, do you not care, George? He was my best friend. Candace always can kiss my ass. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how she feels about none of this. Because if you're going to sit here and ignore how Erica Kirk feels, knowing that she still has to take care of two kids, and somehow explain this one day to her children how their father lost his life, because it's all over national television and these videos have to be explained. They're going to see the videos. And she's got to, at some point, explain this stuff to them. On top of the fact, now run a company. If you can't care about that for 5 minutes, to leave it be and to give her a break from obsessing over her deceased husband, then I don't care about how you feel at all, Candace Owens. I just don't care. Kick rocks. You're a college dropout. You can go back to school. The ex-spouse says someone who cares about her needs to tell her girl, you are making yourself look crazy right now. She's been crazy. Auto hoax, just because you look like an unattractive woman doesn't mean you're rocking a salami in your panties. What does that mean? You like an unattractive woman doesn't mean you're rocking a salami in your panties? What? I'm confused on that one. Are you talking about me or her or what? I'm sorry. I don't know how it goes. All right, I think scarves are pretty popular in France. I don't know. Conscious is the riding maniac high, her good friend. Yeah, okay, I got you, Evan. You were saying that the superpower. And I don't like when he does that, abusing mental health to try to justify saying and doing dumb things. Now, there are a lot of people who are bipolar and they don't say and do half of the dumb things that Kanye or Candace Owens says or does. I don't know if Candace Owens has been diagnosed, but she definitely needs to get some evaluations and probably going to have a psych eval, a mental eval or psych eval ordered in the Macron lawsuit, because they can play all these videos where she's saying all the stuff that she's saying, especially now where she's insinuating the president to be involved in a murder. I wouldn't be surprised if the Macron's attorneys go in and say, Your Honor, based on, the behavior and the character and the demeanor, the things that the the defendant is saying and doing, we're requesting of the court to order her to a psych eval, because we want to make sure she's fit to go through this legal proceeding. Even though she has attorneys, she needs to be able to process and understand what's happening here. And this is not a criminal matter, but it's still imperative. It's a federal civil suit, and it's imperative that they know she at least understands what's happening, so that she can't go back and say, well, all this stuff was under duress. I had no idea what was going on. I've lost my mind for 10 months. You want to have all that in place. I wouldn't be shocked if they did order a psych eval, because they're going to take all these videos and it's going to be used against you in the court of law, Candace, because you still not that smart enough to figure that out. All your videos can and will be used against you in court of law. It's going to show character development. And you're out here doing what you're doing, saying what you're saying, and you're helping the Macron's attorney build this case against you. I'm not trying to look out for her, because what's done is done. She's got enough videos out here, enough content out here to really just set any judge on edge and say, I'm going to let the jury decide, and the jury is going to see all these videos, and then whatever they decide is what it is, because this is insanity. This is madness. The U.S. military, the president, MK Ultra, what the hell? Now you're the CIA? Do y'all see how this is going to line up in court? Imagine you're the jury, and you're in the jury on that hearing for the Macron's lawsuit, and you're watching all these videos of Candace Owens talking about it's MK Ultra, it's the president's fault, it's all the Jews, it's Israel, it's the Israeli prime minister, it's the U.S. military, something about an airplane. Oh, the time is wrong, but it's still a plane. They were flying overhead. Oh, it's these pipes. I'm out looking for people who are older gentlemen, older males that have long hair that can be put up in a ponytail or a man bun. Imagine you're the jury. You're hearing all of that evidence. They're watching all of these videos to determine whether or not Candace has committed defamation. Get this, against a world leader and his wife. And all of those videos are being used. And you're the jury, and you have to sit here and decide, is it more likely than not that she did it with malice intent? Candace. If your attorneys are smart, they'll probably say, Your Honor, our client is willing to do a psych eval. Boy, this is about to get, boy, when I say that case starts to pick up with the hearings, we're going to be on top of those hearings. It's about to get real for you, Candace. I think maybe that's what she's doing all this for, as a distraction, because she knows that lawsuit is going to tear her ass up. But you're bringing this on yourself, Candace. You're making it worse. So you talk about free speech, and yet you don't think about any other law that says here's when it's not free speech. Oh, that goes out the window because you're not an attorney or a lawyer. You're a college dropout. So you don't comprehend those things to be able to say, I'm not going to purport this to be a fact. It's my opinion. But I'm going to leave it right there, because now you're at least having some level of control and restraint. Now, keep being a wild horse out here living on planet Mars. I mean, go for it. And the jury will have a field day with you in this Macron lawsuit. So, tough luck, girl. Bye, Felicia.
An unknown secret group of elites controls him. Brigitte and her husband committed forgery, fraud, and abused their power to conceal these secrets. In July 2025, the Macrons delivered another retraction demand letter to Candace. She responded by saying, "File your lawsuits, my friend." That's exactly what the Macrons did. Their lawsuit argues that Candace's claims are demonstrably false, and Candace knew they were false when she published them. Her motive was the pursuit of fame and money. Now moving to my analysis. Did Candace Owens defame Emmanuel and Brigitte Macron? In my opinion, yes. It seems pretty clear that she did. Not only did Candace repeatedly state that Brigitte was a man, She connected this to a bizarre conspiracy theory which further damaged the reputation of the Macrons. For example, saying they were involved in the CIA, with mind control, and with other nonsense. This fits into Candace's far-right beliefs. It supports her theory that a group of secretive, evil elites are running the world, or trying to run the world. They have infiltrated all levels of the government and somehow achieved their goals by having a man pretend to be a woman. It's amazing that these elites supposedly have billions of dollars and a well-developed and sophisticated infrastructure, yet their operations would require the First Lady of France concealing her sex from the public. This is what Candace believes, or at least what she promotes in her videos. Brigitte is a public figure, so her protection against defamation is more limited than a private citizen. In order for Candace to be found liable for defamation, there must be actual malice. This means that when Candace made the false claims, she knew they were false, or had a reckless disregard for the truth. Short of Candace admitting it, proving she had knowledge of the falsity is difficult. However, there isn't much doubt that she had a reckless disregard for the truth. On several occasions, Candace was provided evidence contradicting her claims, yet she ignored it. She stated that no amount of evidence would convince her that Brigitte is a woman. I think this sums up Candace's reasoning ability pretty well. She's just another anti-science nonsense broker promoting false claims to make money on social media. Moving to my next question, what do I think?
Oh, look how calm he just said that. Dr. Todd Grande, we love him so much. He's so calm and relaxed saying that. He's just saying a bunch of nonsense broker just to make money. Moving on. I mean, because that's what it comes down to. And Otter Hooks, you're right. But here's the thing. She posted up the post saying that she's going to violate a gag order. It's like she's asking for one. Candace, post the gag order. Post up the gag order. If you're saying that you're bound by a gag order, post up the order. Why would that be secret information if you're willing to post up anything saying that you're going to violate an order, but somehow you don't actually post the order? Post the order, Candace. Post it up. Why won't the candy asses ask her, can you just post up the order so Lady Luck Club can stop asking for it? Candace, post up the order you're saying you're going to violate. That's all I'm saying. Post it up. Candace, where's the gag order? Where's this gag order you're talking about and referring to? Because if you're going to say you're violating the gag order, at the very least, you would show the order, right? You will post that order up so we can see what it says, what it pertains to, who the judge is that signed it. Post the gag order up. You're putting out stuff that you put it out there. No one asked you if you were under a gag order. You just put it out there out of nowhere. Y'all, this post came up out of nowhere. No one was talking to her about a gag order. It came out of nowhere. She brought attention to the gag order. The protection order that I read in my last live was signed by the judge on September 16th, 2025. It's October 25th. Over a month ago. She didn't say anything about this protection order for an entire month until 3 days ago. Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. If you wait an entire 30 days to say something about violating an order, why didn't she say something about the order if that's the same order that I read? If that's the same one, why didn't she say something about that order on September 16th when it was signed by the judge? Yeah, these court documents are public documents here. None of this stuff is under seal. So if that order did pertain to her and she's possibly a witness, which would be her only connection to the order itself, based on what the order says that I read, unless there's another order to which she needs to post. But if that order applies to her, she would have to be a witness. Why would she wait an entire month to say something about violating an order? Why is the question, Candace? We're just asking questions. Candace Owens, we're just asking questions of you and the candy asses. Come on, candy asses. Somebody tell me. Why wait over a month to say you're going to violate an order that you haven't even said anything about up until that point. You haven't even shown how it pertains to you directly, Candace Owens. And it's been a month. It was signed September 16th. So unless there's another order we're talking about here, Candace, why did you wait over a month? Post the order that you have, Candace. And don't send me your website link. I don't want to see your website link. I don't care what's on your website link. Post the damn order up, girl. Send me the website link. What the hell am I going to do with that? I'm not fishing all over your website. Post the order up. You and your attorneys would have gotten a copy of it. Post the order up. You're going to send a link to your website. What the hell is that going to do? I'm not fishing all over her website for that. Post the link up. Post the actual order up. Just like you posted up that nonsense, you can post the order itself on Twitter X, Candace. Or email it to me at LadyLuckClubLLC at yahoo.com. I'll post it up myself and read it. Post me the order directly. Email it to me. Because this has been over a month. That order was signed September 16th. You're going to send me her damn website. What the hell am I going to do with your website? I don't want your website stuff. I know what your website is. I want the order. All I'm saying is post the order. Yeah, man, my mama was scared to post up your post. You've worked in criminal law 35. Let me put this up. You live in Utah. I also went to that university. Charles was assassinated. I've worked in criminal law 35 years. I can tell you there are rumblings about how to deal. Yeah. If you got a gag order, Candace, I want to see that order. 99 in the chat, 58 likes. Come on, y'all. And subscribe. Hit the like button and subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. Because we're all waiting on Candace Owens to post that gag order for her to email it to me. I don't care how I get it. Don't send me your website no more, girl. Yeah, that was it's ridiculous. You posted your website up. Josh Hammer also talked about possible lawsuit. I did a video on it, and I said, go ahead and do it. Sue her, bro. Josh Hammer, sue her, and make her produce that gag order as discovery, because we all want to see it. Satiric said, she has used and abused every Jew who supported her such crack behavior. Exactly. Amethyst said you wouldn't find it anyway. She posted behind a paywall. She needs to post it up. You're going to see here talking about you're going to violate something. What you scared to post up the order for? Candace, I'm not paying nothing for your book club. I'm not paying to get a copy of an order that's available to the public. It's so weird. That's public information. Like anybody can just request a copy from the court. Now, if the court make you pay for it, that's one thing, but people would be willing to get a copy of that. All it takes is one person to get the order and post it up, and then it just spreads all over social media. So her putting it behind a paywall is ridiculous. What's going on, Satiric? How you doing? Yeah, true, the paywall queen. What's going on, Bernard's Expression? How's it going? The world should sue her since she claims she is doing all of this for the world. I didn't ask to be a part of this pending lawsuit. I know, right? On behalf of the planet, on behalf of the Lady Luck Club and the Lucksters, post up that daggone gag order you plan on violating. Stop saying all this nonsense and just post it up.
I think happened in this case. This is just a theory, my opinion. Early in her career, Candace Owens learned that a person could make a lot of money by promoting controversial political views on social media. At first, she was dead set on criticizing conservatives, but then became angry at liberals when they denounced her controversial idea of a public shaming website. Candace established herself as a far-right political commentator and had a decent amount of success. She promoted many of the major conspiracy theories that her audience wanted to hear about, like the claim that the moon landing was faked.
Oh, dear
As is
God.
the case with many people in this position, there is a desire to push the boundaries. If Candace simply offered garden variety opinions, she would get a certain number of views. But if she offered fantastical, bizarre, and nonsensical opinions, her views would grow exponentially. She needed to uncover or invent a new
Yeah, the crazier the stories, the more views you get because human beings just we're not reading books anymore, I guess. Let's not forget Candace Owens dropped out of college and she has failed at least two other lawsuits that I've gone over. One dealing with some black moles she chose to live with in an apartment for 6 months and not pay rent, and the other against USA Today. That even went to an appeal, and she petitioned the U.S. Supreme Court for a writ of certiorari, or certiorari. I hope I'm saying that right. It's CERTORARI from the United States Supreme Court, and they said no.
Conspiracy theory to dazzle her
They said
audience.
nope.
Simply repeating this theory was not enough. Rather, it needed to become her signature work. She had to modify it, make it her own. When people hear about this theory, they would think of Candace. She would distinguish herself as an investigative journalist through her research and reporting
She's not an
on this new
investigative
theory.
journalist, child.
Candace had expressed an interest in French politics, so when she heard the false claim that Brigitte was a man, it seemed like a good topic for her to cover. The circumstances surrounding Brigitte's relationship with Emmanuel made the topic even spicier. For example, the age difference between them and the fact that Brigitte had once been Emmanuel's teacher. Candace embraced this conspiracy theory and did make it her own. She modified and amplified the story, forming a new version, one that went far beyond whether Brigitte was a man or a woman, and exposed a network of evildoers who were trying to achieve world domination. Emmanuel and Brigitte told Candace to stop making the false claims, but Candace used this to get more views. She tried to play the victim and acted like, by asserting their rights, the Macrons somehow verified the legitimacy of the conspiracy theory. This is how nonsense brokers like Candace operate. Any evidence can be used to support the conspiracy theory, even someone filing a legitimate lawsuit for defamation. Candace is the one who is in the wrong, but she is blaming the people she victimized. In addition to being a victim, Candace is also a hero, at least in her mind. She has exposed the evildoers. Now she will gladly go to court and defend her quest for justice. I would be very surprised if Candace prevails in this lawsuit. Brigitte is definitely a controversial figure who made some curious choices as far as her romantic life, but her defamation case is straightforward. Brigitte may look like she lost a fight with a button machine in a military uniform factory, but she will not surrender in the battle against defamation. Those are my thoughts in the case of Candace Owens and Brigitte Macron. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Just a reminder that I have over 300 pre-release videos on my Patreon account. These videos are of the same quality as the videos I release to the public. When I put a video in pre-release status on Patreon, it usually stays there for several months, if not a year. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video.
Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical...
Y'all, Dr. Todd Grande is so awesome. He's so calm and relaxing. Y'all see how he brings me down to a very calm level. Like everything just kind of soothes over like a baby. It's like ASMR, except you're learning something. That was absolutely amazing, y'all. Shout out to Dr. Todd Grande. I hope he does an entire profile on her. It's okay, Dr. Todd Grande, if you get a little animated. It's okay. And it's okay if it's longer than 15 minutes. You might need an hour on Candace Owens. Because you just can't make this up. Yeah, so this is Dr. G Explains here. He did he's a forensic expert. He did an analysis about her views on Charlie Kirk's assassination. We all know that Candace has not produced any evidence to support her claim. And before we go there, I want to show you all the status of this case here with the Macron's lawsuit. We're on the court docket. So here's Candace's case with the Macrons. Y'all see this? This case ID number N as in Nancy, 25C as in Candace -07-194. It's like torturing her and the candy asses with this. They hate it when I go over this case. So if you guys scroll down, you can see the Macrons. You can see Brian Farnan, Michael Farnan, the attorneys for the plaintiff. And then you have Candace and George Tom and the county sheriffs for Newcastle, Kent County, then Judge Sheldon K. Rennie. And then you have her attorneys listed, Catherine Mowry, Chad Chandler, Blake Robacher. And then if you scroll down, you see what's the court docket activity here. So this is all the activity of what's been going on with this case since the complaint was filed, right? You guys can check this out on courtconnect.courts.gov .delaware.gov. And then if you have the case number, you enter the case number and it takes you to this page that we're looking at. Now, I've reported on updates that are being made to the case as we go along. So I'll start with the stipulation here from October 3rd. So there was a stipulation filed by Candace's attorney, Catherine Mowry, with a proposed order to adhere to the deadline that they had to respond to the amended complaint that the Macrones had filed. There was an amended lawsuit complaint filed because Candace Owens still keeps running her mouth and lying like hell with no scientific evidence to prove that anyone was born a man or with a penis. So, with that amended complaint, they have to respond within, I think, 22, 25 days. I'm not sure of the exact number of days in the state of Delaware, but some states have 22, some states have 25, some states even 30. You can always seek an extension, but it needs to be within reason. You have to give the court an explanation as to why you need to have an extended period of time, to respond. In this situation, they did seek an extension on the term and page limit because the complaint was over 200 pages. So here with the amended complaint, the response would be to the amended portions. So her attorneys don't have to go back and respond to everything in the complaint. They only need to respond to the amended portions of the complaint. Now, mind you, Candace Owens lied like hell on Tucker Carlson's show and said that she did not want a dismissal and she would not seek a dismissal. But yet, a motion to dismiss was filed along with a brief back on September 12th of 2025. And then September 16th, a protection order was signed regarding the death of Charlie Kirk. Why in the world did she not say anything about that order then? Who knows? But she certainly was not answering questions as to why she decided to still file a motion to dismiss as opposed to just a general reply or response to the complaint if she doesn't want this dismissed. It's very contradictory to say, I don't want a dismissal, but then seek a dismissal in a motion with a brief to support it. And if you've ever, if you're an attorney in the chat, you understand certain pleadings and documents take time to draft. They have to be formatted a certain way. And a motion to dismiss with a brief to support it can turn out to be a very lengthy pleading. You got to have table of contents. You got to have case law. It can be laborious. Okay. That's why the attorneys get paid all that money per hour. So naturally, they have this stipulation here on the amended response to the complaint, which I'm sure would be adding on to her motion to dismiss, because she didn't just do a traditional response. She did a motion to dismiss. Now, that's typically standard, but considering the fact that Candace said she was not going to seek a dismissal or did not want a dismissal, why the hell would she lie about filing a motion to dismiss? Why not just say we're going to respond, but we're not going to file a motion to dismiss? And then they're doing it on the premise of jurisdiction when Candace filed a lawsuit against USA Today, a federal lawsuit at that, in the state of Delaware. So that whole jurisdiction argument can be exploded by the fact that that there's other cases that she herself is the petitioner listed in the lawsuit against USA Today that she filed in the state of Delaware. Now, all of a sudden, they don't have jurisdiction, Candace. Your attorneys are reaching. So you have that order that came with the stipulation. Judge Rennie, signed the order, basically saying, okay, you guys, adhering to the stipulation on the deadline to respond to the amended complaint. So they have until October 30th. So it's October 25th. I expect to see something by November 2nd that's been filed and stamped with the clerk of the court regarding their response by November 2nd. So you can file it, and sometimes as far as it being docketed might take 2 or 3 days, if that makes sense. So if Y'all see here, this stipulation was filed October 3rd, but docketed October 7th. And that's because it has to be filed and stamped by the clerk of the court. All right. And then there's the order. It was filed. It was submitted October 7th, and it was docketed October 8th. More than likely because the proposed order that came with that stipulation was already written out. So in the event the judge grants the motion or the petition or whatever it is, they just typically take that proposed order. If there's any edits or changes that need to be done, you can just make some quick edits and changes in Microsoft Word, and then you submit over the edited proposal for the order, and the judge signs it, and it gets filed, and then both parties get a copy of it. So here you see October 14th. I'm just now seeing this because it was docketed October 22nd, 3 days ago. There's a notice here. And it's an order signed by the judge, an amicus brief. Y'all see this here? An amicus brief was received on October 14, 2025 from a non-party and rejected by the court. Candace, who the hell you got sending in an amicus brief into a case as a non-party? Who doing this? What is this amicus brief about? Why even do that? It's prolonged. It's unnecessary. It's something that the judge has to look at. It's just another piece of document that's not needed. It was rejected from a non-party. I don't know if it was on her side or his side, but I'm asking her first because Candace does dumb things sometimes. You can't make this stuff up. So an amicus brief was filed into the Macron lawsuit by a non-party, and the judge rejected it. Candace, if any non-party person is filing anything on your behalf, all you're doing is prolonging this case for nothing. For nothing. So the judge, of course, this is a notice. Hopefully there's another entry that's going to be updated of what the amicus brief is, or just an overview of it. Because this is just the notice to the parties. So there was an order signed on October 22nd by the judge, and what the next docket entry should show is an order. But I'm just curious as to why anyone would add an amicus brief to this case. For what? And you're a non-party. It's like Candace, if you're doing anything to stall this, you're looking even more like the hypocrite that you are. This is so crazy. And y'all see it right here. Her business is registered in Delaware. So yeah. And in the state of Delaware, the petitioner can sue the defendant, can sue based on whether the defendant resides or if they have a business where they're, like generating a bunch of revenue, or their main revenues or income sources. So, and the fact that she filed a lawsuit in the state of Delaware herself against USA Today, not even 2-3 years ago. I mean, she can't say they don't have jurisdiction in this case, but they had jurisdiction when she was the petitioner. And her LLC, Candace Owens LLC, is registered in Delaware. You can't make this up. So you all see here, something's going on with this case. I find this comical. Candace, stop prolonging this and let it go forth, because you don't want it to be dismissed, right? You were so excited about it going to the discovery phase. We're all waiting for that. There's a jury demand here. So at least you get a jury. Candace, post that damn gag order up, girl. An amicus brief. So we'll be watching out for this update with this court docket, with this case, because you got stuff coming in from non-parties that are being rejected by the court. You can't make this up. Candace, I'm gonna keep laughing at your ass as long as you continue to do dumb things. you, you're getting dangerous, but this is just ridiculous. Let the case go forward, girl. You can't make this up. This is something else. Oh man, what's going on, Jay the Informant? Did somebody said anywhere in the attorney in here? What is this? What do you think this is? Well, somebody worked in the law for 35 years. Where are you? Lord have mercy. Who said they worked in criminal law? Was it you, Eminem? What do you think this is with this what do you think this is with this amicus brief? What's the chances that it came from is a non-party, but it may have came from the defense on behalf of the defense? What do you think the chances are that this amicus brief is on behalf of the defense? It's because the court rejected the hell out of it. Look at this. Back on October 14th, an amicus brief. If it's related to, do y'all think it might be related to the death of Charlie Kirk? And maybe someone wrote a letter in saying, can y'all spare her because she's mourning or in grief? If it's something related to that, boy, I'm going to go off in a video. I'm going to go off so hard. If this amicus brief is anything to do with, oh, have pity on Candace because she lost her best friend thing, I'm going to go in on this. I want to see this amicus brief. I want the court document. This is something else. You can't make this up. If anybody's out there listening, if you have that amicus brief, email me a copy of it. You can keep it anonymous. I won't even say that you email. I won't even mention how I got it. I'll just say it came to me. It just fell in my lap. I want that amicus brief so bad. Because you can't make this stuff up. This is something else. I'm telling you all, if this has something to do with someone trying to get the court to show Candace Owens any level of pity or show her some mercy because she's upset, she lost her best friend, and this, that, and the third, I'm gonna have a real problem. Because this lawsuit was filed before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And then Candace tried to blame the Macron lawsuit on the death of Charlie Kirk. Y'all remember that? Put a 1 in the chat if you recall her saying that. Put a 1 in the chat if you recall Candace Owens saying that this is nothing but a ploy from the Macrons with their lawsuit to keep me from talking about Charlie Kirk's death. Put a 1 in the chat if you remember her saying that. See, when I theorize and I'm asking questions, it's based on factual events that have occurred here. So if she was bold enough to sit here and try to blame a lawsuit that pre-existed before his death on his death itself, naturally you're going to ask questions about this amicus brief from a non-party rejected by the court. Why would this be sent? Let's go back to the fact that she did a motion to dismiss when she didn't want the case to be dismissed. Because you just can't make this stuff up. Let's go back to the fact that this motion to dismiss is a thing. You don't file a motion to dismiss when you don't want the case to be dismissed. You stay far away from anything that would indicate to the court you want this dismissed. You can't make this stuff up. And now we have a notice where an order has been signed rejecting an amicus brief from a non-party. And we've already heard Candace say that this Macron lawsuit is just a distraction to keep her from talking about Charlie Kirk's death. You can't make this up. Thank you for the 1, Manny. See in this case title. Thank you, Pat Brooks. Appreciate it. Thank you, Lady Luck. You are so good with all the receipts, and your laugh makes me laugh. Thank you. We better go, y'all. Thank you so much for the $20, the $19.99 super. I appreciate that. That's a blessing. Thank you so much. Amethyst said maybe it was Mrs. Farmer can't respond because she's in the loony bin and he's heavily medicated. C in the case title stands for civil. Yes. Yeah, C is for civil. C, usually it'd be like CV for civil, but yes, that's civil. CR will indicate criminal. I'm trying to figure out this amicus brief. If anybody has a copy of this amicus brief that was filed that the judge has rejected, dear God, email it to me. I don't care if you use an email address that says ABC123. Okay. Just send me a copy of the amicus brief and I will read that in a whole video. Because you can't make this up. This is getting good. All right, yeah. I just wanted to show you all the update to the Macron lawsuit. And here's the entry docket here, the activity here. And I'm waiting on this amicus brief to be posted up somewhere, anywhere, or emailed to me somehow. Let's get back to the video with Dr. G. I'm going to try my best not to pause it this time. So let's go.
And forensic psychologist, as well as a counterterrorism expert. And today, we're going to be analyzing statements made by Candace Owens regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. Before we get started, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. Ever since Charlie Kirk's assassination, Candace Owens has been very outspoken in trying to uncover if there was a deeper plot, if it's more than what we're being told. And what we're going to be doing today is analyzing some of these statements, and I'm going to give you my own forensic perspective on some of the claims that she makes. I'm going to be talking a little bit about counterterrorism, because as I mentioned before, I'm an expert in that as well. I was trained by U.S. intelligence a number of years ago, so I'm going to be giving you some perspective on whether or not the alleged shooter may in fact fit the profile of a lone wolf terrorist. All right, let's just jump right in.
What we do know definitively is that the feds are lying to us. That is obvious. It is abundant. If you're able to think thoughts, you recognize that something is very wrong with the story that has been presented to the public.
So if you watch my other videos, you know I oftentimes talk about body language. And one thing I can say about Candace Owens is she absolutely believes what she's saying. But as a forensic expert and someone who's had experience and things like this, I disagree with her assessment that this seems that strange. If you go through and look at what the FBI has released so far, none of it is outside of what we typically see in these kinds of situations. It all seems pretty standard. We're going to talk more about like the text messages and some of the behaviors from Tyler Robinson, the alleged assassin. We're going to talk about that in a bit. But as far as saying that like anybody that has seen this is going to automatically know that something's wrong, I don't actually believe that that's true. I think a lot of us have experience in this, and a lot of us who work in forensics see this as all pretty standard, actually.
Is that the feds are lying to us. That is obvious. It is abundant. If you're able to think thoughts, you recognize that something is very wrong with the story that has been presented to the public.
And just to be perfectly clear, I've done numerous videos on the Epstein death, and I've talked about how bad some of the reports were on that. And I'm not saying that you have to just assume that just because the FBI was involved that it was a great case and everything was done right. But I really do think that in this case in particular, we haven't seen any red flags yet.
And I think that what the public doesn't understand, and I count myself among the public, is why it seems as though Turning Point USA executives, and I'll say seems, are not even remotely interested in challenging that official narrative. Who are they protecting exactly?
I think there's a lot of problems with this logic because executives are not homicide detectives. Somebody like Candace Owens, when she sees something like this, she's going to be trying to figure things out. She's going to go, are there alternative explanations? I want to go through every piece of evidence. I want to figure this out for myself. Most people don't really think like that. She thinks about these things in a way that other people probably don't. So the idea that Turning Point USA is not coming out and making statements that are either supporting what she's saying or saying that there's different kinds of investigations that need to happen does not imply that they're complicit, nor does it suggest that they're protecting somebody. And I think that that can be a really dangerous leap in logic, because then people are going to identify Turning Point USA as somehow the bad guys in this situation, when in all reality, they may just trust law enforcement.
In challenging that official narrative. Who are they protecting exactly? You'll see oftentimes they and other influencers will invoke Erica as the reason.
I think one of the challenges here, and I can relate to this in other situations, is that when you are so certain about something that you think people are being naive or foolish if they don't see it the same way as you. But I think that the official line that's been provided, that a lot less people are questioning that, and a lot less people see it as strange than she may think. Now, I know there's plenty of viewers of people that are watching this right now that probably absolutely do not believe the mainstream narrative of what happened.
We have the story that could possibly potentially answer all of those questions. And it certainly makes a lot more sense than the slop that the government is currently trying to feed us. First and foremost, Tyler Robinson has never confessed. They acknowledge that he has never confessed to this crime, and he still is pleading innocence on the shooting. In fact, I was told that he was, quote unquote, bewildered by the idea that he carved a case.
There's nothing at all surprising about somebody turning themselves in and then pleading not guilty or then not confessing. We see that all the time. So just because someone surrenders themselves does not mean that you would assume that just because they say they're not guilty actually means that they're not guilty. I have a very hard time following that logic here because, for example, something that happened about a week ago, Lorenz Krauss, he confessed on live television to murdering both of his parents and then got arrested for it. And now he's pleading not guilty. Even after like an hour-long interview of basically explaining in detail what he did and why he did it, he's still pleading not guilty. So the idea that somebody could turn themselves in and still plead not guilty is not shocking. This is not unusual at all.
He was quote unquote bewildered by the idea that he carved casings. I should be clear, he does not dispute the fact that it is his gun at all. It is his gun.
So another thing that's odd about the way that she's talking about him being bewildered by carving the casings, once again, this is exactly what we see when we go to trials. This is exactly what we see when people have committed crimes. And I know he's just alleged at this point. We'll see how the trial treats him. But point being is that the idea that he's going, well, I don't know how this stuff got there. I certainly didn't do it. Of course he says that. Like everybody says that when they've been arrested for crimes like this. So him being bewildered, I don't think is evidence that he is not involved or that he didn't do it.
Tone down his speech and his rhetoric. Now, on the topic of rhetoric, I am told that Tyler absolutely did not author those text messages. What text messages? He has no idea where these messages came from. Believes that they are therefore entirely fictionalized.
But they deny everything. So that doesn't mean that he did it, but it certainly doesn't suggest just because he denies it that he didn't do it. That's just a part of how pretty much every trial that I've ever either been involved with or watched works.
You're going to be shocked that he doesn't actually use words like vehicle, which should come as no surprise to anyone that has a brain. By the way, I'm sure you caught this, but there's old footage of Tyler Robinson that is now circulating from a car accident that he had. And during the discussion with the officer that showed up, Tyler certainly refers to it as his car, not his vehicle, because that's how most Americans, how most English speakers refer to a car.
So she's absolutely right about this point. People typically
pause. Who told her that? She said, I was told by. Did y'all peep that? I was told by. By who? You don't say I was told by unless you're willing to say a source or give the name or say who told you, or at least give the relationship of the individual, like someone that is working with the police or one of the investigators, blah, blah, blah. Why even put that out there if you're not willing to say if it was a source, if it was who the person is? None of that. When I have information I report on, and like with the video I did about Umar Johnson's mother, right? And some text messages. So I had two sources that sent me the information. I kept them anonymous and I put the video together. And it was corroborated by other information that Umar himself had already put up, such as other posts and other messages he himself had released to corroborate what I was sent. So it was like two different types of evidence that matched and supported and corroborated the other. That's how you vet your information. If I want to make sure that this text or this information came from the source that's saying it came from, then what I did is, okay, do I have anything out here that is available to the public that will connect or tie into this, that is factually proven to be connected to this? Meaning, if this post came from this source and it's a picture of Umar Johnson's post, then I should be able to actually find Umar Johnson's post as well. And I did. But the thing is, Candace doesn't even vet her tips she get. And I highly doubt she vets her sources. She literally said that a woman was paid to give her a tip. She said that numerous times. Candace actually said, someone was paid to tell me this. And they admitted that to her. So how do you find that to be a credible source or tip? If someone is telling you, hey, I was paid to tell you this. Just as if, why? Someone paid me to tell you this. They could be saying anything simply because they were paid to say it. It doesn't make it factually true. If someone tells me I will pay you $8,000 to say this to this person over there, I'm going to say exactly what they want me to tell them because they're paying me to do that. But it could be a bunch of lies. This is why I say she's not an investigative journalist. Because when you're talking about getting in a tip or source, you're vetting that to make sure it's accurate, to make sure that there's some corroborating evidence out here that is factually proven, that was substantiated. You don't just put out the first thing somebody tells you, especially if they were paid to tell you that. It's so insane. Names must be named. Remember, thank you for the $2 super amethyst. Remember the YSL trial. The names must be named. You can't make this up. What's going on? My wits end said Tyler did say vehicle later in that same video. Candy cut it off. Exactly. She proctored this video. You guys, let me tell you something. When you go and you proctor, you edit videos and stuff, this stuff is false and misleading. It's very misleading to the public because you're trying to paint this narrative that he never said these words when he said it. It's just in the end part of the video, and you intentionally cut it off so that no one would hear that. And then two, this stuff most times proctored, edited videos aren't used in court. It's not admissible evidence in court. It has to be unproctored raw, and it has to be authenticated to be genuine. Like, utilizing the police body camera footage is much better than someone's video camera, unless it is raw footage that more than likely, like with unfortunately with Charlie Kirk's assassination, you had so many people recording that, you know, you could find 2 or 3 other videos that would show the same thing, maybe from different angles, but it would still show the same thing. So the videos of Charlie Kirk being, assassinated, it's not something you edit and say this is the true video when there are thousands, hundreds of other videos that will show otherwise. So for her to proctor and edit this video to where it's like giving this impression to someone watching it, and it's the average reasonable person watching it would think, oh, okay, if they don't see anything else, they're going to think what she put out is accurate when it's not. You can't make this stuff up. Candace is intentionally doing this stuff. It's like she's forcing this stuff to fit to her narrative. And that is false and misleading. The entire public, and because she has such a large platform, you got 5 million candy asses out here that are going to believe everything she says. I just don't understand how anyone that's sane-minded believes any of this stuff at this point. I just, it's like, when she's done doing these shows, does she go back and laugh at this? Yeah, I can't believe 5 million people are still believing every word I say. Like, is she not laughing at, at this stuff herself? Because she laughed in the videos when she was accusing Trump. When she was insinuating Trump, she started smirking. Then she started speaking gibberish. No one understood it. I posted the video on my channel. It's on the International Hitline of Candace Owens playlist. I couldn't believe it. I said, this girl is laughing at this. Like it's a joke.
We would not use words like vehicle. It's peculiar, which is actually why we should believe that the text messages are real. They have a strange style. They are peculiar in the way that they're written. Tyler Robinson also happens to be a very peculiar guy.
Unless they're in the military or on the police force. So here is 2022 police body cam footage, in case you missed that, of Tyler making a crash report. Take a listen.
Your mom's on her way?
Yeah, she's gonna be a minute. She's got to shuttle over from where she's at to her car and then drive over.
Gotcha.
His mother was going to shuttle over from her car? Interesting. There's more, of course.
Actually, there is more. We're going to watch another clip from that same body cam footage.
Okay, so I shift yellow, and as I get into the intersection, the bolts, there was a vehicle in the lane between like the leftmost through lane.
So as you can see, he actually does use the word vehicle. This is very consistent with the way that he speaks, which actually proves things in the other direction. It proves more that the text messages are quite real, because who would think to include details like that? So I think this lends credence to the fact that the text messages are in fact authentic. And as she expresses very strongly, nobody talks like that. Nobody uses words like vehicle. Well, Tyler Robinson actually does. And I don't think that she left that out intentionally. I think that it's just a mistake that was made. I make mistakes in my videos as well. I even made a mistake on my video about Tyler Robinson's car crash. So sometimes that happens.
Dude, Dr. G, don't give her that much credit. She cuts out a lot of things on purpose. You need to look at raw footage versus what she posted up. Because if she wanted to correct this, Candace Owens could have went back, did another video and say, hey guys, there was more to this. I want to make sure I correct this so that you guys can see the whole video of him using both the words car and vehicle. She never did that. So I have to disagree with Dr. G. She did this on purpose. Because let's think about this. This is why she's being sued by the Macrons, because she refuses to correct her false statements. She refuses to correct the record. She refuses to go back and make corrections on the things that she said that were false and defamatory. Because in her world, I'm only trying to prove my point is going to get me these views. I don't care if it's the truth or not. This isn't her first time doing this. This is why she's being sued.
I'm not being critical in that sense, but my point is that if her evidence that the text messages are not real is because people don't speak like that, well, Tyler Robinson does, because he's strange. He's a peculiar guy.
I was told also that Tyler is off the charts intelligent and always has been. We know this. He had a perfect GPA in high school now. That is precisely what made the idea of him being so stupid as to author a full confessional via text messages pointedly absurd.
So here's another point that I disagree with, because there's a very strong confession drive after someone has committed a very serious crime. So the idea that he told someone he was close to about everything, that is actually very much in line psychologically with what many people do. If you watch enough trials, if you understand enough about evidence, if you've seen enough, if you've worked in this field, you'll know this doesn't seem that unusual. It's the very reason that people like this get caught for these kinds of crimes. So the idea that he's smart and therefore wouldn't have confessed absolutely has nothing to do with it. His intelligence is completely irrelevant.
That is precisely what made the idea of him being so stupid as to author a full confessional via text messages pointedly absurd. Like any person with a modicum of intelligence is going to go, I'm not going to put this down in writing with every detail. And apparently whoever offered those messages, likely feds, didn't have a modicum of intelligence, or they would have maybe not included every single detail there.
When we look at the text messages, when you go, this seems strange, like the way he's talking about it, it's not as peculiar as you think. He's a weird guy. It fits in with his style. If you look at the way the text messages are written, if you look at the focus on the gun, because he keeps going back to it over and over again, those are the kinds of details that awkward killers oftentimes focus on. The inanimate. He's not talking about and celebrating what he did. He's not all excited about what he did. He's focused on getting his gun back. He's focused on these details. So these text messages actually, psychologically, are totally consistent with everything that we know about Tyler Robinson so far.
I believe Tyler Robinson was involved, and he was in fact driving around campus on that day, therefore assisting in the costume changes, likely picking up clothing. And as we broke the story,
when there are people that are trying to commit some sort of crazy murder like this, they're going to include less people, not more. Typically, they wouldn't dedicate one guy to be the clothes guy, the person for costume changes or whatever. That seems like the kind of things that if people are professionals, they could handle on their own. So to me, that seems very unlikely.
Tyler was seen at Dairy Queen. And what was he seen doing, as I told you? Dumping clothing in the cemetery beside that Dairy Queen. So I think that is what his involvement is limited to. That was his job, to get rid of clothing. It's completely a nonsense to think that a person who had never killed anyone was high on adrenaline after a kill and decided to eat Dairy Queen.
This is where I'd say she's most wrong of anything else she says, but we're going to watch the whole part and I'm going to explain why.
Anyone was high on adrenaline after a kill and decided to eat Dairy Queen. That doesn't even make sense biologically speaking. There was going to be an adrenaline measure that kicks in after you kill animal, let alone a person, let alone having it be your first kill. And you're like, he just decided to go to DQ, sit down, write some poetic text messages. It's why they're freaking out about that.
So for your average person, if your average person was to kill somebody, they're going to be all torn up about it. They're going to be confused about it. It's going to be, they're going to be an emotional wreck afterwards if they had to defend themselves or something like that. For your average person. But if we're talking about someone who committed an assassination, we're probably talking about a psychopath. And psychopaths can do things like this with no problem. They can go eat an hour after they've committed a murder, even if it was their first one. Look at Brian Koberger, for example. He murdered 4 college students. Okay, 4. This was the first time he'd ever killed anybody. Here's footage of him from the next day, just sort of hanging out, going to Costco, shopping a little bit. He has no problem doing this. And physiologically, you can absolutely eat because you wouldn't still be as high on adrenaline as you were right when it happened.
Right.
There's nothing about this that shocks me. If this is surprising to you, if you think that people are incapable of this, if you really get into
the adrenaline is going to take a lot of your energy away from you because it's giving you this rush and it's increasing your metabolism. It's taking your body is taking the source that it needs. The food that you've eaten is storing all that energy up, and then it's giving you this release of that energy to be able to carry out all that he did in a matter of what? 2, 3, 4 minutes? Between getting up on the roof, that's a run and a jump and a leap. going up and down flights of stairs, then running back and off the roof and running back down and jumping off buildings, all the stuff that he did with all of that physical exertion, just from a physiological stance, of course it's going to drain his energy. Going to eat would be logical. Now, whether or not he's thinking about what he's done, like he said, he's a psychopath. He probably had no feelings or connections or emotions tied to that. But the physical exertion, yeah, you're going to go and want to eat. He doesn't care that I just did a heinous crime because he has no mental, emotional connection to it. He's a psychopath. He might not even think what he did was wrong, think it was a righteous thing or some sort. But to say you're just going to go and eat, you're thinking like someone that would have some sort of, emotional connection to this. Candace does not have any emotional connections when she's lying like hell. Candace, does it stop you from eating? Are you in any way delayed from making your husband a sandwich when you just lied about Brigitte Macron being born a man and you did an 8-part series on that? Because you're a narcissist and all. Do you feel any emotional connection to you lying and claiming that someone is born a man with no scientific evidence whatsoever, with all of the DNA and all of the evidence they sent you to correct the record, and you've never done that? One could say that you're a psychopath and you're not feeling any emotional connection to all the lying that you're doing. Yeah. I can't fathom somebody who's a psychopath themselves saying that they can't relate to another psychopath having a meal after physical exertion. It's got to be the biggest load of hypocrisy ever. And even if Candace was trying to be humane and say she's grieving and mourning the loss of a friend, she's still showing no regard for anyone else. Very selfish and self-centered, like the narcissist that she is. I'm keeping my foot on your neck, girl. This is insanity.
Some true crime, if you really pay attention to some of the trials that happen, you're really going to be shocked then, because going and getting Dairy Queen after committing murder, nothing about that surprises me whatsoever. You have to understand how under-functioning psychopaths are. Psychopaths are not that rare.
Exactly.
But if it's somebody who truly can commit murder like this, somebody who can assassinate somebody else in front of their kids, in front of their wife, in front of a huge crowd, the idea that they would go and eat afterwards, there's nothing about that whatsoever that should surprise you, even if it was the first time they'd ever done it.
Obviously, paraphrasing here. He came in peacefully. He handed over everything. I mean, the whole depiction was like he was just so shocked that his boyfriend could do something like this. And so he handed over everything. Well, according to his family, that's just not true. According to his family, he was raided and he was angry about that raid. And yet he was instantly released back into their care.
Another aspect of this that's going to complicate things, particularly for a lot of people that are not used to trials, that don't watch a lot of this kind of information, is that there may be conflicting information that comes out. It's not unusual at all that the wrong information comes out, that somebody says something incorrect. It's very possible that we are legitimately going to be getting some conflicting information, but that's not unusual. That happens frequently in trials, particularly when you have this many people working together.
So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, oh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause.
So I'm not really sure that this being 48 hours before his assassination is a strong argument that there was a greater conspiracy. Because at this point, based on things that Candace Owens talked about, the FBI would be complicit, Israel might be complicit, there have been 4 different decoys would be complicit, there would be a big group that was all involved in this, multiple shooters. It starts to get to a point where it doesn't really make sense anymore.
Let's go back to this. Hold on.
Because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking.
I want y'all to look at these text messages here. Okay. How do we not know? Y'all see these black lines? It looks like redaction. Y'all see that redaction there? Y'all see my green pointer here? Around this little block here? That's a redaction. This is a redaction right here. Here's another redaction over here. Why is this stuff redacted? Why is that redacted? what do you think could possibly be above the actual text message itself for her to feel the need to redact this? Anybody pick that up? Y'all see these redactions? Why would these text messages be redacted? Like, why would there be any redaction in this? I'm not saying any names or anything, because she got Charlie Kirk right here. So what's up here that's redacted? How are we supposed to know who this person is talking to? This is a group text, right? I mean, why redact anyone else's name if you're going to release the text? And then guess what they did? They came out, a couple other people came out and confirmed that these were group texts. So what are you redacting over here? Why redact? You're already releasing group text. Why do any of this? This is what I don't understand here. Why does this look so choppy? Like it may or may not have been sent on the same day. I'm confused. This doesn't seem like it is flowing in one conversation here. This is just my take on this. But I'm seeing redactions here on a group text that she leaked. That other people came out and said that these group texts, the text messages are real. What's redacted? Like, this is crazy. This is redacted. These black lines. I'm just like, who does this to text messages? If you're trying to release text messages, then why would you redact anything? Unless it's somebody's like date of birth or social, something like that, like personal identifiable information. But all the people she's insinuated, names she's thrown out there, people who should not be connected to this, like Phil Lyman and his whole family. Why all of a sudden you redacting something out of some text messages? Because you don't see the phone number. It's not like she's got Charlie Kirk's phone numbers in here. So what are you redacting out of here?
Speaking of inviting, Candace, somebody writes, oh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel.
They look different.
So I'm not really sure that this being 48 hours before his assassination is a strong argument that there was a greater conspiracy. Because at this point, based on things that Candace Owens talked about, the FBI would be complicit, Israel might be complicit, there would be 4 different decoys would be complicit, there would be a big group that was all involved in this, multiple shooters. It starts to get to a point where it doesn't really make sense anymore. Because the most sensible thing, if we're to look at Occam's razor, just the principle that the simplest explanation is probably the correct one, the idea that there's a lone wolf terrorist who wanted to kill somebody, probably wanted to know what it was like to murder somebody, assassinated Charlie Kirk. That is the simplest explanation. And based on everything we've seen so far, I don't see any reason why there's a better explanation. One of the bigger issues I have overall with the narrative that it just can't be Tyler Robinson. Once again, he's going to go to trial. We'll see whether or not they have good evidence that it truly is him. But he fits the profile of a lone wolf terrorist. He appears to be radicalized, ideological. He has specific grievances. His behavior is very consistent with what we see with lone wolf terrorists. So to take away from the fact that this could have very well been an ideologically driven act by a psychopath, and that all of a sudden we're starting to blame our own government, the people that are in fact trying to put away the person that killed Charlie Kirk. That's what frustrates me. What I personally want is for Charlie Kirk's assassin to face justice. And I think that Candace Owens wants that as well. Now, I think that she looks at some of this evidence in a very different way than I do. And hopefully, over time, it will become clear. Hopefully, either myself or Candace Owens or whoever else is watching this won't reject good evidence when it comes in because it doesn't fit their preconceived notions of what's happened or what they believe has happened. Because I'll tell you, I'm fully open to the possibility that if more evidence comes out that Tyler Robinson wasn't the guy, if the alleged shooter didn't in fact do it, then I'm absolutely open to it being part of whatever conspiracy if there's good evidence for that. But so far, I haven't seen anything that really goes against the evidence that the FBI has presented and goes towards evidence that it was anybody else. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Hopefully this is helping you better understand some of the forensic perspective of the information that Candace Owens is providing. Now, I'm not saying she shouldn't continue to ask questions. I think that anybody that wants to better understand the situation should ask any questions they can. But I do think coming to certain conclusions should be limited. I think that there are certain conclusions that people are coming to that are not real conclusions, that are not legitimate conclusions, like that Tyler Robinson never could have eaten Dairy Queen after murdering somebody if he in fact did something like this. Absolutely. If you assassinate somebody and you're enough of a psychopath, there's a lot more that people can do. Trust me. If I was to really get into some of the stuff that I hear in true crime and some of the cases that I've been involved with, eating lunch at Dairy Queen, eating dinner at Dairy Queen would not be that big of a deal. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. If you have any other thoughts about this, please let me know in the comments below. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.
Yeah, this is the last one here. This is Prosopa Insights. So he gives a physiognomy analysis. I don't know why I keep pronouncing this word. Physiognomy analysis. PHYSIOGNOMY. All right. So you guys can look that up, information on that. As a matter of fact, I'll look it up while it's playing. This is going to be the last video. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. These are 3 different experts here. And so far, they're saying so far they're saying that she's coming to these conclusions that seem to be wild, out of the box. A lot of things she's wrong about. He's saying basically, you can ask questions, but you're coming to conclusions. This is why she's in court. Hey, Skeeter, what's going on? Hey, Mark. Hope everything's going well. Thank you so much. But this is why she's in court. Candace is in court because she keeps making these conclusions and then calling them facts. And then they're completely wrong and not substantiated with any evidence. Just like Brigitte Macron being born a man. She turned that into a fact and has no scientific evidence to support it. And now wants to throw a temper tantrum because they're suing her ass for defamation. And then wants to blame that lawsuit on having something to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination, or the fact that she feels this lawsuit is designed to hush her up and to keep her from talking about it. You can't make this stuff up. She edited and proctored that video regarding him talking about vehicle versus car intentionally to try to paint a narrative to fit her moot point that is unnecessary. You talking about speech pattern here. These are things that Candace is not an expert in. She's not trained and educated to recognize pattern of behavior with speech pattern or body language or any of that. Candace, you dropped out of college your second year. So I just, her being an investigative anything right now is so, just going based on the themes of her content and the video titles itself is so outlandish. It seems like they're only designed, if anything, she's a marketer. She's an advertiser. She's like a brand product type manager. She can brand a lot of things. But everything's not meant to be branded, Candace. Everything's not a product. Everything can't be marketed. Everything can't be turned into a method of making money. Because then when people start to see you in this limelight, that the only thing you're good for is branding and marketing and nothing else, don't get offended or insulted when people start to conclude that you don't have a conscience. You're certainly not using the brain God gave a billy goat. And we're still waiting on that gag order to be posted. You guys have some great conversations going on. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. This is the last video we have. And then we will make sure. And if we guys, I ask you to keep it respectful in the chat as well. And to what we're discussing here. Because I don't want, if the debate gets off topic and it gets too far left, I don't want it to be distracting for others. So just please be respectful in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're going to get into Prosopa Insights and get into this analysis that was done. So let's get to it.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Celebrity Face Reading. My name is Taylor, and today we will be looking at none other than Candace Owens, the famous American conservative political commentator turned conspiracy theorist who has been making waves as of late with a lot of very bold theories and investigations, especially regarding some of the most controversial topics out there. Chief among them, as of late, the unfortunate untimely death of Charlie Kirk, which she claims she has some evidence that there are some shadowy forces at work behind the scenes at. In addition to this, she has also made waves by making some pretty serious accusations about Brigitte Macron, the wife of Emmanuel Macron, and her supposed true identity. Now, of course, with bold accusations and allegations comes the need for the burden of proof, and this is why I believe a lot of people have been requesting that I analyze Candace Owens, because they want to find out if she's trustworthy or not. They want to know if she is a reliable source for this sort of stuff, if she is a thorough investigator, or if she's the kind of person to sort of skip over the details and go for the big picture thing and not really follow up on her sources. Today, I will be analyzing her face and physiognomy to try and figure out if Candace Owens is a trustworthy source and what, if any, hidden agenda she may have. Before I get into it, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you are notified next time I put out a face reading video. I'm looking to start getting out multiple of these a week pretty soon, so stay tuned. You're going to want to be subscribed for that. I've got a lot of good stuff coming. If you want a face reading done for yourself or someone you know, message me on my website. Link is in the description. And if you want to learn how to do face reading for yourself and analyze people in your daily life, learn everything that I know and more, because you're going to be learning with me as I get more information, make sure to check out my Patreon, which is my Physiognomy Academy. Link is in the description. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. Now, before we get into her personality and physiognomy per se, we're going to take a quick look at her phenotype, which is the physical expression of her genetic heritage and ancestry. Now, obviously, Candace is of African descent. She is African American, descended from West African slaves brought to the American South. And specifically, I think that she has some sort of Congolid phenotype. This means that her ancestors probably came from Central Africa, more so than West Africa, from the Congo, maybe around Nigeria with one of those Ghanaisid types. In any case, probably has some Bantu ancestry in there. And if you look at the shortness of nose combined with otherwise somewhat European-esque features, maybe just a little bit of pygmy, which I think is neat. Or in my own system of phenotypes that I'm currently developing and will be putting out a book for before too long, she would be what I call a gracile Africanid, which is one of the 5 unique African American phenotypes found in the New World. All right, with the phenotype out of the way, we can now get into her personality and the analysis that you guys are waiting for. We're first going to start with her side profile, which will tell us about her temperament and inborn characteristics. Now, it's a bit hard to tell. There aren't that many good side profile pictures of her, but my guess is that she is a sanguine. You can tell from the protruding chin and the right angle on the jawline, that 90-degree angle there. This means that she, by and large, acts sort of in the short term. She is rather impulsive, impatient, enthusiastic, optimistic, rather charismatic. But she's not a pure sanguine. The forehead does not slant back. She has a very high and rounded forehead. That is a pure choleric forehead. So, unlike a pure sanguine, she's actually very willful, and she can actually think and plan in the long term. Now, in practice, her energy tends to be a bit more impatient, impulsive, and tends to kind of get bored and exhausted with these long-term plans. But when used properly, this combination can be very powerful because it combines a very strong choleric will with a very strong sanguine energy of action. And we can see that this combination has done her well throughout her career. She has managed to harness both an incredibly stubborn, commanding, willful, long-term mind and will, and used it in congruence with a very enthusiastic and charismatic energy of action and social energy from that sanguine side. Now, with her temperament out of the way, we can now look at her face shape, which will tell us about the broad strokes of her personality and the archetype that she fulfills. Now, from all the pictures that I've seen, I think that she has a pretty pure Venus face shape. That's that heart or diamond-shaped face. This is the face shape of the diplomat archetype. This means that she is naturally romantic, interested in loving and being loved, very interested in relationships in general, and we see this in a lot of her videos. A lot of them are about relationship drama and interpersonal stuff. Venus face people are also very interested in social causes, whether it's Ronald Reagan and his anti-communism, Emma Stone and her feminism, or Leonardo DiCaprio and his environmentalism. Venuses are always drawn towards helping other people. It's an extension of their drive towards love, and Candace is no different. She also cares a lot about social causes. No matter what her views at the time are.
I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about that. I don't know if she's trying to help people or what, because she seems to be having an impact upon society in a way where people are, about whole countries, are banning her from coming. The High Court of Australia said, no, thank you. I don't know how she's helping anybody. I have not seen or heard Candace do any giveaways or help anybody pay a bill or reached out to anybody in the community to deliver backpacks or food or groceries or school supplies for kids. Have anybody seen or heard her do that? Anybody seen or heard her do that? And I'm not saying you got to be a fan of Candace, but have you seen any video? Is there any video or anything where Candace has gone out and actually done something positive in her community? Has she bought clothes or shoes or somebody for a family or helped pay off, a house or mortgage, some medical bills, expenses for medicines? Has she gone to schools, donated school supplies, anything? Has anyone ever seen or heard any video where she does that? Yeah, you guys, please just change the subject, Manny. I appreciate that. Just change the subject, bro. Has anybody seen Candace is not a humanitarian at all? Has anyone seen or heard her do anything positive for her community? Anything? Because if so, let me know. I'm sure the candy asses will comment to the comments after the, or say something. Comment to the chat. I mean, I'm still call you a candy ass, but at least here's an opportunity to say that she's done something with the receipt, with a video or something, or article, something where she has actually, like, I've given back to my community by doing this. Because she talks about Michael Jackson. Let's use him for an example. Michael Jackson received one of the highest humanitarian awards, right? All he did was give to communities, whether it was in the U.S. and countries in Africa. He gave back. He helped children. He did things. He gave to causes. Is she doing any of that? Is there anything where she has gone to some community center and helped battered women in shelters or anything? Nothing for community. Anything. Any act of humanitarianism. Anything at all. Does anyone have a video link to send me where she is giving out books or food or clothes or meals or anything? Free supplies, like giveaways in her shows. Like, I'm just saying, anything. There's a video of an Islamist thanking Candy for her Jew hate and helping push the Islamic agenda in America. So yes, Islam loves her. Is there anything where she gave supplies? Has she sent clothes and diapers and formula to the babies out there in, Gaza Strip and West Bank? Anything, any humanitarian act at all? Does anyone have any video or article on that at all? I never even, thank you, S5. I never even heard her shout out someone else's GoFundMe. So it's hard to say that she's the type of person where Bernard said no. Okay. It's hard to imagine that she's somebody's humanitarian, or she does anything humanitarian where she's giving back and she has not done that. Even if, I'm not saying you give back for people to see, you don't always have to broadcast it, but people will recognize her. Somebody will capture a photo if she's out somewhere giving clothes and shoes out to somebody, or she's donating to a charity. She's actually there at the shelter, sitting down reading books to kids and stuff and handing out materials to the moms and stuff like that. People will recognize her. So even if she doesn't have a camera crew around, somebody would take a photo. Somebody would be recording a video, or something would happen. Somebody will see this. As widely known as she is, I think she's at a point where if she's able to piss off world leaders, presidents at a time, the French president, the US president, the High Court of Australia, and all of the government officials there, the Israeli prime minister, if she's able to piss off world leaders, I highly doubt she will be able to go somewhere and not be captured, even if she's not trying to be seen or televised. So if she's never, not even in England with hubby, she's never done anything that shows that she has some level of humanitarianism in her, I highly doubt she's a woman who gives back, that she's some level of humanitarian. I highly doubt it. As a matter of fact, Candace should be focusing on giving back refunds to people who bought tickets in Australia for that tour, because she failed to secure a visa before she started selling tickets for people to see and hear her speak and say dumb things. And just to think, a VIP dinner with her was $1,500 with no justifiable cause. $1,500. A VIP meet and greet is $225. A standard ticket was like $95. The VIP meet and greet was $225. A VIP dinner with the meet and greet, $1,500. How do you justify that expense? So people should be getting their money back from her. That's not a humanitarian act, Candace. That's you giving back refunds to people because you should have never started selling tickets on a tour and you did not have a visa secured. So she owes people money. If anything, she owes people a lot of money. She also owes the government of Australia, the High Court. She owes the government for the court costs because she chose to appeal this whole visa ban thing. And aside from the money she had to pay for her attorneys, now she has to pay the government's court costs. That's what you get, Candace.
She's very driven towards changing and reforming society to better fit them. Whether she's a liberal or conservative or a national socialist, I don't know what she is now. She's going to be very passionate and very driven with that. But she's not passionate in a Martian warlike sort of way. She's very much still a peacemaker, and she wants to bring everyone to the table, and she just wants to ask questions. She just wants to get the conversation going. Another famous Venus face person is Joe Rogan. A lot of podcasters have this face because, of course, Venuses are the peacemakers and the talkers. Finally, on the face shape, she has quite a large inner face, which shows a lot of sensitivity and reactivity. She can be easily overwhelmed by stress and sometimes freak out and have to sort of retreat. She's not very good at compartmentalizing or
yeah, no, that explains her, just complete insanity right now. Because she can't handle anything stressful, but yet she creates stressful situations though and tries to distance herself from it, like the Macron lawsuit. You created that situation all on your own, Candace, and now you want to sit here and try to make it seem like I didn't say those things. It took balls to do. You were born a man and you will die a man. I can't believe they're suing me. I feel like they're invading on me. Why isn't the president, the vice president saying anything? You're about Felicia.
Catching from a situation. She's always very involved. All right, with the broad strokes of her personality out of the way, her side profile and face shape, we can now start to get into her facial features, which will help fill in the minute details of her personality. Now, usually for these, I will split them up by category or only look at the most interesting features, but I think all of her features are really interesting, so we're just going to break them down one at a time. We're going to start right at the top with her eyebrows. Now, they're very long, which means that she's premeditated. She likes to plan ahead. She likes to think in the long term. She likes to come up with big plans for projects, investigations, whatever it is. She thinks and plans in the long term. These are a very good compliment to that choleric forehead. But something really interesting to notice is that they do have an asymmetrical shape. Her left eyebrow is very curved, meaning that in her personal life, she is very consensus-oriented, empathetic, cares about the feelings of other people around her, and makes decisions based on that. But her right eyebrow is more arched. This means that she's more competitive, logical, controlling, has a need to feel in charge, and is somewhat jealous. This is a really interesting contrast with her now nemesis, Nick Fuentes, who I also analyzed, who, as I pointed out in my video on him, has an arched left eyebrow and a curved right eyebrow. This is because Nick Fuentes is the opposite of Candace Owens in this regards. He projects as being very Venusian, very consensus-oriented. He has an outer persona that is much more friendly and empathetic, but inside he is by nature very harsh and competitive and assertive. And I think that these opposite, parallel, almost mirror personalities or decision-making styles may have played a role in their initial drawing together and then coming apart in their relationship. But that's now on to her most unique and prominent feature, her eyes. Right off the bat, eyes are super wide set. This shows that she has a wide view. She focuses on the big picture, not the details. She's very tolerant, can be kind of spacey, and she's bad with the details. And we see this with her stuff. She does not necessarily follow the details and the evidence to where it naturally leads. She comes up with a big picture view. She sees things and she intuits what is going on, and then she tries to fill in the details or has friends or followers do that for her. Now, this can be an advantage. It can...
No. She says, here's what I want. And then she sends out her 5 million plus base of cult followers, the candy asses, to bring her any and everything. And then she goes from there with no point or direction to it. You gotta be kidding me. Is it T meal? Can I say T meal? She's in her 3rd trimester of what? A 5th baby? She's pregnant right now. She got me like the house. don't know how to act. Y'all don't know how to act. I don't know how to act. Oh man, you on punishment for 2 seconds. My wits end, you on punishment for 2 seconds. 2-second punishment. I gotta send you your room for 2 seconds, man. Is she pregnant? Yes, looks it. Really? Now? She's pregnant now? With what, Rosemary's Baby? Yeah. Sorry, I can't breathe. Hold on. Y'all funny as hell. Wait a minute. What, Rosemary's Baby? What's that? You can't get past the fetal alcohol syndrome. I ain't fooling with y'all. Y'all. Oh, Jesus. Oh, just brother, please send me the gag order. I have the gag order. Send it to me. Email it to me. LadyLuckClubLLC at yahoo.com. Send me the daggone gag order. I want to see that gag order. Oh, God, Rosemary's Baby. Oh, you can't make this stuff up. Yeah, I'm laughing my ass off. I sure am. Oh, Jesus. All right, we gotta keep going. She did not look pregnant in that video she did the other day. Y'all, exactly. Candace has, like, when she gets pregnant in her video she did with Piers Morgan. When she was pregnant on that, and it was not even supposed to be revealed. You see her belly, her face is filled in, and she's got the pregnant mama face, swelled out, everything swelled out, right? That video she did the other day looked like she's been fasting for 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness. Like on a 40-day fast. 40-day and 40-night fast in the wilderness. She retraced the steps that possibly Jesus took and went on a 40-day and 40-night fast in the wilderness. And she came out looking like Green Alien. Skinny as all hell. Her face looks sunken in, like she's lost so much weight. Like, this is crazy. You can't make this up. I think I can't. You know what? I'm right there with you, Amethyst. I really do believe she has MPD. And her mood is so erratic. Even through the show, you see her from the beginning to the end, and you see this change and shift in between her talking about sponsors. The day she got that Macron lawsuit, and she, the episode entitled "This Took Balls," you see her in the beginning laughing about it, and then towards the end, she's like, "You were born a man and you will die a man." She was pissed. And it's like, this is what you get, heifer. You keep purporting this to be a fact because you're not a journalist. And now you're mad because they're suing you after they've tried to get you to correct the record, and they've sent ample evidence that they didn't have to send. They could have just went straight to a lawsuit after trying at least maybe once or twice to correct the record, because they got to prove malice intent. Because Candace Owens herself, she's considered herself to be a public figure. So guess what? If she wanted to counter, now she would have to prove malice intent. Candace, you considered yourself to be a public figure in the lawsuit against USA Today. So that means that the same parameter to meet, the same burden to meet when you're dealing with public figures or, political figures, is that malice intent. It would go the same if you decided to countersue someone for defamation. And because you've lost the lawsuit with USA Today because you couldn't prove malice or state a claim, we can all pretty much predict how this is going to go, especially when her attorneys are talking about, oh, this is not the right jurisdiction. You got to be kidding me. Not when there are other lawsuits that she filed in the state of Delaware. I believe that. I believe she has some sort of MPD. Because that, to me, I'm like, this drastic change you're doing and the obsession. There's no way George Farmer is still listening to this woman go on and on and on and on and on about Charlie Kirk unless she only talks about him for show. And yes, I'm calling you out on that, Candace. Unless you're only doing this for the purposes of giving a good show. Unless he, or she's emasculated this man so much where he just, his sack is gone. Okay. He has no balls or spine. And he refuses to tell her to shut up. Who's running that household over there? I'm curious now. George Farmer, are you truly the man of that house? He might be scared of her. You got a wife with MPD, possibly. It seems like she's absolutely bipolar, and she's just snapped, and she's bringing this stuff on herself because she doesn't want to practice any restraint or control or discipline or the definition of journalism. So you got all this stuff coming down the pipeline against you, Candace. You can't get mad at nobody but yourself, girl. But one thing, nope. Kindness and passion, I don't see that. I just don't see it. Maybe her alternate personality, maybe, but not this one. Not the one we looking at.
Help her to see the forest for the trees, see past stuff that other people are getting caught up on, and look at the whole picture, look at what's really going on. But it can also be kind of a disadvantage in that she will miss details. She will get caught on red herrings, perhaps. At her best, she's visionary, and at her worst, she's just plain sloppy. This is further emphasized by the fact that she has very round eyes. Now, they're not super big, so she's not super innocent or naive. They're actually kind of small, so she's actually more on the cynical side. But her worldview is moral and emotional. Now, I notice small round eyes a lot, ironically, on liberals. When people send me images of crazy liberals or LGBT activists or whatever, I notice a lot of small round eyes. This is because these people are very cynical. They think the world is against them. They think the world is racist, corrupt, homophobic, whatever. But it's not a logical critique. It's a moral, emotional critique. And we see this from Candace as well. She has a very moral, emotional worldview. Now, she doesn't necessarily say that society is set up to be homophobic or racist, but rather that it's run by satanic pedophiles.
Oh, no. Yes, she does. She says everything is fake and gay. Isn't that what you all told me she said? Everything is fake and gay? Yes, she does. She herself says everything is fake and gay. So I appreciate him doing this analysis, but I disagree with many of the things that he said. She herself goes out and says everything is fake and gay, unless one of those voices in her head is telling her to say all of this. I don't know which personality we're talking about here. It could be Bonquisha or Felicia or Candace. Who knows what we're dealing with day by day? And today we might get a Bonquisha. Tomorrow we'll get Queen Margaret. Who knows? Be like that movie Glass with James McAvoy. 21. There you go. Be like a movie 21. This is number 1, 2, and 3 of 21 inside Candace. Candace got 21 things happening in her head simultaneously, and we're looking at 3 of them right here. Candace, you're not fooling anybody. You're either doing it for show or you're actually crazy and you need a mental eval. And because otherwise, there's no logic to that. And I vehemently disagree with that. I do agree him saying she's sloppy. That, yep, she very much so is. She has no self-control or restraint, and she believes that she's entitled, just like she thought she was entitled to an interview with the Macrons, making demands when you're not entitled to that just because you want to call yourself an investigative journalist, when you don't have any idea how that works, Candace. You have no idea what a true journalist is. I've seen some true journalists in my day. put out some great work. You might want to research some of these journalists out here, because that's not a title you're fitting right now when you don't know how to vet your sources. Girl, stop. But all this stuff going on in her head, Chabu. Yeah, she's like 21, except black girl magic.
And Israel, which honestly probably correct, let's be honest. But why is she so headstrong with asserting these views? Well, that's because she has a positive mental tilt. That means that she puts her own interest over those of others. She's very assertive, rebellious, confident. She's always down to rock the boat rather than keep the peace. Finally, with her eyes,
yes, say that again.
That means honestly probably correct, let's be honest. But why is she so headstrong with asserting these views? Well, that's because she has a positive canthal tilt. That means that she puts her own interest over those of others. She's very assertive, rebellious, confident. She is always down to rock the boat rather than keep the peace. Finally, with her eyes, she has very thin upper eyelids, especially for someone of African descent. They usually have thicker, fuller upper eyelids. This means that she does not have a super strong need for intimacy or closeness. She's very independent, something that is further emphasized by her very, very wide-splayed ears. These ears might be even more wide-splayed than mine, which is saying something. This shows that she is incredibly independent, may even have trouble maintaining relationships in the long term. But the really interesting thing here is that her ears are also small. Now, wide-splayed ears, of course, indicate independence, like I said, but small ears indicate that someone is easily influenced. Now, usually when someone has wide-splayed ears, their ears are also...
That explains her accepting these various tips that come from all these wackos with these dumbass conspiracy theories with no evidence or proof to support it. She doesn't believe that the moon landing is real. Candace, why don't you fly your ass to the moon and go find out? It's the same thing I say about flat earthers. You believe the earth is flat. Why don't you go to a rock, get a rocket, a spaceship? All you flat earthers, put y'all money together. Go buy a spaceship and go fly out of space to see what the earth looks like from outer space for yourselves. Take pictures and then bring them back and show us what you got. I don't argue with people like that. That's a matter of science, and it's a matter of them going out, and then they can just kind of go see for themselves. Go to space and go see what the earth looks like for yourself. They can come and put their money together, and they can ask Elon Musk to fly them out of space for 5 minutes so they can take some photos. But her being independent, I don't know, because there's a lawsuit where she didn't pay rent for 6 months. Sounds like she was very dependent on the property management company allowing her to just live somewhere while she claimed that she was living with black mold causing recurring yeast infections.
So large, so they're independent and hard to influence. But you do occasionally get people every now and then with wide-splayed, small ears, and they're always very interesting because they're absorbing all these ideas. They're easy to influence, but once they latch onto an idea, they're very headstrong with it, and it's hard to get them out of it or get them to doubt it.
Even if it's a damn lie from the pit of hell. Even if it's a lie from the pit of hell. You know, like someone being born a man and no scientific evidence, or the fact that, Tyler Robinson could not have done something because he ate Dairy Queen. It's because of reasons. She's going to hold on to it, even if it's a lie from the pit of hell.
Curious paradox, and I think we see it in Candace in spades. We know that the Brigitte Macron being a man thing is not her idea. It came from some French author that she picked up, and now she ran with it in her own very independent way. Now, her nose, of course, being of African descent, it's short, but it's short even for a person of African descent. Usually her gracile African in phenotype, they usually have somewhat longer noses, but her nose is itty-bitty short. This means that she's very action-oriented. She's not much of a contemplative, patient, thoughtful person. She wants to get out and do stuff. Now, again, just like with the white-side eyes, this can be a strength, but it can also be like with the white-side eyes. This can be a strength, patient, thoughtful person. She wants...
Yeah, she's not a contemplative, patient, or thoughtful person at all. She doesn't think before she speaks. She's not patient. She doesn't vet her sources or information. And she certainly is not thoughtful. She has not thought about Erica Kirk or her 2 children and all of this nonsense she's been doing about Charlie Kirk for 6 weeks straight. Or her husband or her 4 children. Possibly 5. Is she pregnant? Is she pregnant? Did we ever confirm that? Did we ever confirm she's pregnant with baby number 5 now? Or is this based on, her being pregnant in previous videos? I don't know. Yeah, also watch party of the movie Simba. That would be good to do in the members only. Y'all, we got Superman coming up in an hour in our members only. Superman 2025. Yep. We're going to be watching some good movies and shows in our members only. So make sure you guys get a membership. Talking fast is a sign of mania. Yeah, she's not pregnant. Someone looked it up. Okay, good. Yeah, because I was about to be concerned. Like, don't sit here and just give birth to babies to try to avoid accountability or responsibility. Don't go get pregnant because you just want to dodge and dip and duck from accountability or this lawsuit, Candace. The Macron's lawsuit is a very real lawsuit. It's a very real lawsuit. So, it just said the baby announcement from January. Well, it's October. I mean, she don't look like she gave birth to any babies. She definitely didn't look pregnant. She didn't look like she was like in a hospital or anything. Maybe like a facility. But white walls and all this other stuff, she exactly what she needed to be. She don't even look like she was at home in that video. She looked bad. Candace, you look rough, girl. Like, she's going to be back on the 27th. Yeah, we'll be catching her live. God.
To get out and do stuff. Now, again, just like with the white eyes, this can be a strength, but it can also be a weakness. She's going to be very enthusiastic and very energetic. She wants to get out there and get the podcast out, get the word out there. But on the other hand, she might jump the gun on things and she might be a little overly impulsive sometimes. However, when you look at the inside, her nose is actually rather straight and has a level tip. This means that she is rational, reliable, and has a cool-headed disposition. Now, only note on the philtrum, which is that little ridge that runs between the nose and the upper lip, hers is very narrow, which means that she has a very strong moral impulse and she puts principles above pleasure. Now, last but certainly not least, for a communicator like Candace, we are going to look at her mouth. She has a very small mouth, actually. Not the smallest I've ever seen, but pretty small relative to her face as a whole and her facial features. This means that she's actually naturally a quiet, reserved person who is resistant to new social connections.
Nope. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. He might have to do this one again. I want another analysis, dude. I want another analysis. I'm going to leave him a comment in this video. You got to do this again. There's no way you can say all these things about her and look at all these videos she done put out in the last 6 weeks. Now let's go back to 5 months. Let's go back 5 months. In the last 5 months, there is no way in hell you can say all these things about her after seeing the type of content she's been putting out in the last 5 months and expects everybody to believe what she's saying. Either we're taking her for a horrible, cruel joke, or she actually wants people to think she's serious and she's being genuine, which would be problematic and concerning and negate most of the stuff you're saying, bro. You might need to do this again, man.
Smallest I've ever seen, but pretty small relative to her face as a whole and
Oh
her
my
facial features.
God.
This means that she's actually naturally a quiet, reserved person who is resistant to new social connections. She's actually naturally kind of an introvert, I would think, but she has a very good public persona and she cares about the world and about people and about interacting and getting her voice out there. So she does it for work. But I think if you found her at a party, she'd sort of be off on her own or with her friends. She really only speaks when she feels the need to. Not too much of a blabbermouth, I think. But speaking of her communication style, her upper lip can tell us a lot about that. And she has the high and narrow arch upper lip shape. That is the moon upper lip. That means that her communication style is imaginative, blurry, dreamy, somewhat imprecise. Again, we get back to sloppiness, blurriness, imprecise.
You know what? Yes, because she started gibbering off in one of those videos. She was like, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, what's happening? Her brain just kind of gave up. Like, you're moving too fast. Stop. Maybe it was a switch of those personalities when she went blah, 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 blah. Maybe it was another personality that kicked in and we missed it. Maybe that's what it was. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt with that, Candace. Perhaps it was one of the personalities just coming to the front and we didn't know that you were switching. And that's how it goes with you. And you kind of go blah, 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 and then another personality takes over. That might be a thing for you. Perhaps we missed that.
Precision. Yeah, she has big vision, big dreams, and all that, but she is bad when it comes to the details, and this further emphasizes it. So, in conclusion, overall picture, imprecise, a bit sloppy at her worst, but visionary at her best, great at seeing the big picture, bad with the details, and most importantly, extremely independent, driven, rebellious. Honestly, the biggest surprise to me about her crash out with Daily Wire is the fact that it didn't happen any sooner. With ears like that, with canthal tilt like that, with a nose like that, I'm personally shocked she was able to maintain that working relationship for that long. She is an independent, driven woman, and she cannot be held down. She is 100% a strong, independent black woman who don't need no Israeli money. And with all that being said, that concludes my physiognomy analysis of Candace Owens. I hope you enjoyed the video. This has been Taylor from Persopa Insights, reminding you always judge a book by its cover. Thank you for watching.
Y'all, that's the end of that right there. She took Israeli money though. She was paid by a company that was owned by a man of Jewish descent. And Ben Shapiro is Jewish, right? I don't understand. You can't make this up. This is he need to do another one. I need him to do another one of them. Erica will wait until Tyler's court case ends. Erica, let me tell you something. Erica Kirk has practiced so much restraint. It's almost like if you respond with an attorney, I would not be mad at you. I would not be mad at you, Erica Kirk. If you had to respond, let your attorney respond and let it be resounding. Okay? Don't go back and forth with Candace on social media. That's what she wants. And so does the rest of the candy asses. They want you to bite into the nonsense. See, you're the one person, Erica Kirk is the one person who has not said anything at all. If those other guys that she released these text messages from, if they had not confirmed the text messages were real, if they had not responded, if they had not said anything, she just would have been out there saying this stuff. And she wouldn't have had any, no one would have been able to corroborate it. So it would make her look even more crazy. It would make Candace look even more crazy. Because it's like, okay, you're out here saying all these things, releasing all these texts, but then nobody's speaking out and corroborating this stuff. They're not saying if it's true or not. They're not saying anything. She will be a lone wolf out there barking in the night, just howling to the moon by her damn self. And with her saying no one was real in his life, like the last video she did were really mean and cruel. But you can't say that it did not include Erica Kirk when you hear her say no one in his life was real. No one in his life was genuine. When you hear her say things like that, and this man was married with 2 kids, you're not even thinking about his family. You're not thinking about his wife, his children, his parents. You're not thinking about any of that. You're only thinking about how you feel and just stirring up some stuff. That's how you feel. So all I'm saying is, the fact that she is willing to go there and to try to, it's like pushing the boundary. The fact that she's willing to go there and do that without thinking twice about it, to me, lets me know she's wanting to try to get back some level of response, because it's the only way this stuff is going to continue on. The whole banter of it all is going to continue on because someone's responding to it. Like content creators and independent journalists like myself, we're responding, we're reporting on it, right? But if she's getting these key players like Josh Hammer and Ben Shapiro and who else? Seth Dillon and all these other people with PBD podcast. If she gets all these people that she's sitting here, talking about and making these comments towards, if she can get them to continue on with the back and forth, she could keep this shit going for how much ever longer. Right? She could keep this going for a long time. But the one person that I feel like she truly wants to respond to her is ignoring the hell out of her. And that's Erica Kirk. How many times has she insinuated something about Turning Point USA, the leaders and all of that? Erica Kirk's the CEO. Erica Kirk is the CEO. So you're talking about, no one there had Charlie Kirk's back. No one was looking out for him. No one in his life was real. Of course you include her. You're not going out of your way to say except Erica Kirk. Y'all don't hear her saying that. Y'all don't see her saying, I'm not speaking to Erica Kirk when I say this, but I feel like many people in Turning Point USA kind of abandoned Charlie Kirk. They left him hanging. And here's how. She's saying no one at Turning Point supported him. No one is good. Like the whole company sucks in her mind, in her world. While Erica Kirk is the CEO, she is at the helm of that company. Hey, Meraki. Erica is the queen. Yes. Go up. Thank you for subbing. Thank you. You earned a sub. Glad I found this channel. Thank you so much at GoToHub.com. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. You guys make sure you're subscribing to the Lady Luck Club. That's why her superpower, her silence is her superpower, Amethyst. It's a superpower. None of them can comment on anything. They're all going on to be witnesses and under gag order. Yeah, because and honestly, Candace has this air about her, or this notion where she thinks she's entitled to this. She even said, I'm the Mason of Turning Point USA, right? Now, why else would she say that unless she's trying to put herself on this level where her and Erica Kirk are kind of like, side by side? Why else would she say that? She's trying to make herself more important than what she really is. Erica Kirk could literally tell everyone in the company, do not accept Candace Owens' phone calls. If you're here at work, I can't control your personal life. But in this office, she is not to engage with anyone. You're not to give her any information. You're not to send her any emails or anything from any work paid device or anything. Because we are following the law. We are reporting whatever information we have, incorporating with the FBI here. If she were to do that, Candace knows she would have no power. She has no power now, but she's trying to present herself as if she has this standing, saying she's a Mason of Turning Point. So what? You don't work there anymore. You don't have access like you used to. And Charlie Clerk is deceased, so you definitely don't have any access. And even when he was alive, you didn't have much access then. You weren't trying to, stay aligned with Turning Point. You weren't, attending any of the events or any of that. You did one event last year. Beyond that, you hadn't really shown or did anything to indicate that you were still, in good standing or in good favor with Turning Point or with Charlie Kirk or with Erica Kirk. No one even seen these people together. No play dates with the kids, nothing. So for her to say that, say what she's been saying about Turning Point and saying that no one, everybody betrayed Charlie Kirk, everyone. But didn't say except, of course, naturally except his wife, except his parents. I'm not, referring to them. But all the people that could have helped make decisions regarding his stance on Israel and those things, these people betrayed him. Why not be specific? She's specific any other time. Now she's generalizing everything to say everyone or no one. She wants Erica Kirk to respond to her. She wants Erica Kirk to say something, just one thing. That's why she's doing it. It's like she's soundbiting, right? I wouldn't even if there wasn't an investigation. If I were Erica Kirk, I wouldn't respond to her anyway, because now you're baiting her. Like you're engaging with this nonsense. Let Candace Owens continue to show her true character. I agree, Sherry. She is so jealous of Erica. And I honestly, hopefully they do have an NDA with those that she may have been talking to. Hopefully those people know not to, don't communicate with her no more. Don't communicate with her no more. Because we're not finna sit here and give her content for her channel. We're not here for that. This is a murder investigation. This is a matter to be handled by the FBI. Candace doing this stuff for views. We don't have time for that. Stop taking her calls. Stop sending her texts. Stop sending her emails. Don't confirm nothing. You see her, she calls. Who is this? Nah, I can't talk to you. You can have a good day. Bye. Hang up. That's it. The end. She wants to try to get information out of us. Tell her she needs to call the CEO of the company. You might want to contact the CEO. That's Erica Kirk. Good luck to that. I would just say, hey, send her up to me. Any information you need out of my company at this point moving forward is going to come through my legal team. Do you understand? Have a blessed day. Bye. And hang up. The end. That's enough said. And I would say that while my attorney is sitting there and have that on speakerphone and record it. That way she can't go back out and lie and say, Erica Kirk just said all these things to me. I'm just going to press play. This is what was said. We recorded it. It's in a video. My attorneys were here. The end. That's it. That's it. She wouldn't even have to get on the phone. She could just put out a statement and have her attorney do it. Erica Kirk does not have to entertain her foolishness. And whomever is coaching Erica Kirk and giving her advice, she's listening. She's paying attention. And when I say she's showing Candace what her ass is to kiss, she's giving Candace Owens her ass to kiss. And that's how it should be at this point. Erica Kirk has way too much. Like I said, I didn't watch Charlie Kirk stuff. I don't have a reason to lie about that. I ain't watched none of his content, his videos, none of that stuff. I never saw his show, none of that. I never followed him like that. But you talking about a woman who lost her husband. She got these kids. She got a company to run. And you got Candace Owens out here making money off the death of this man that she can't even prove she talked to within the last year. She certainly has no close relationship with his wife. And yet she's running around here making it seem as if, she's the widow. It's gross. And she refuses to stop. And it's embarrassing for her husband. George Farmer needs to grow a spine and a sack. Period. If he's the only one that can tell her to shut up, because Erica Kirk is not going to tell her to shut up. Erica Kirk's attorney is going to tell her to shut up. But if he the only other person that can tell her to shut up, he needs to start saying shut up. He may, like I said earlier, he may have already said it and she's just ignoring his ass. Yeah, can we stop? Can we just enough? You shut up, George. That's probably her response. She's not listening to anybody. That's one thing I did agree with the video we just watched. She's a rebel. She hard-headed. She don't listen to none. Meraki said, I've watched some Prosopa Insight videos after I knew that channel from the description box yesterday. However, I think he's quite biased, sometimes too many BS. Yeah, he said a lot of things in the video that I did not agree with. He need to do another assessment because I think the one he did in this video was pretty old. But yeah, I think he needs to redo it and consider what has been said, within the last good year. The first two we saw with Dr. Todd Grande and Dr. G, those were spot on because they're doing more recent, assessments based on what's occurred so far. Dr. Todd Grande spoke about, her response and an analysis based on the Macron lawsuit that was just filed, July. So not too old. And then, of course, Dr. G is speaking in regards to her response to Charlie Kirk's assassination. So two different angles, but both have very similar, analysis at the end of the day. And even with the last one, he did speak on her being rebellious, scatterbrained, very independent, sloppy. Those things are true. But I think he gave her way too much grace, and he needs to do something that is more recent based on her behavior that we've been seeing more recently, right? So let's get some more comments in, you guys, and then we'll get the supers in. Everything Candace says is negative. Yeah, CO is possessed. She definitely could put up other content. I wish she would. She's the one who's made 18 videos is in a row about Charlie. Exactly. She said herself 6 weeks in a row about this. I mean, it's so crazy. As far as she's posting vids about Charlie to get views and money. Exactly. Sick parent, love Dr. G and Dr. Grande. Yeah. Yep. He did a great job. George will have Candace committed in an insane asylum and take the children to live in his truth, right? Oh Lord, poor George. George, you better grow a spine, dude. You're gonna have to do one real quick. Why don't you say, dear, why don't you make me a sandwich? And then wait for it. You see how they go. Let's see how they go. Tell Candace go make you a sandwich and we'll see how they go. She gonna put out that book to make him a sandwich. She don't even listen to her husband trying to get her to understand you're obsessing over another man. What are you doing, dear? Oh Lord. And then you see this guy in these interviews, and he's so passive. He's so laid back. It's like you can't have two headstrong individuals in the household trying to procreate, right? So one of them have to be more laid back. And man, he is too laid back. He really is. What's going on, Jesus? Calm now. How you doing? Let's see here. Barbie Browning said they can't talk. There's an investigation going on. Honestly, yeah. I mean, if that be the case, then that's more of a reason for them to say Candace Owens is to not get any information out of here either. Period. Thank you, just Rhonda. I subbed a few minutes ago. Thank you so much. You guys, make sure you're hitting that like button, share the contents, and subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. Turn on your notifications. And as always, thank you for engaging in the chat. Let's get to these supers. I just want to shout out to Amethyst. You're on it. Thank you. And Pat Brooks. Amethyst hit the $5 super. We got your comment in earlier, and then Pat Brooks in the $19.99 super, and your comment in earlier. Thank you so much. We have another $2 super from Amethyst. The YSL trial, the names was be named. That was good. And then Amethyst again with a $5 super. See, she and Umar are passing notes in how to grift class. They're in a tight race to get an A. Can Umar 101? Y'all, we've been reporting on Umar Johnson too. You talking about grifting, and then we've been, going over doing watch parties on this cult leader named Nature Boy with Carbon Nation. And I'm doing this so that you guys can see a pattern of behavior here and how many of these cult leaders or these cult of personalities, conduct themselves, the way they think, the way they speak, the way they carry themselves, especially when it comes to this. It's almost like a Truman Show type of, demeanor in their world. It's like they're one way in front of the cameras and then probably something else behind the scenes, even though with Candace, I think she's like this 24/7. She just knows how to dial it down depending on who she's dealing with. But when you're bold enough to implicate the president on an assassination that we all witnessed, some in person, the rest on national television and videos, I find it hard to believe that she's somehow able to turn it off, or else this is one hell of a persona. This is coming down to a bipolar MPD type of thing, because no one can fake the funk that bad without it really spilling over into their personal life. And it's like she wants to be a target. She wants to be involved and connected so bad. She's talking about violating gag orders here. So, unless she's a witness, why would you want to be bound to a gag order? Why would you even want to be a witness in this at this point? And it wouldn't be in a good way, people. It would be because they're questioning her on the dumb things she's saying on her channel. She's out here cyber harassing and doxing people. Companies and individuals are being doxed because of Candace. You have people being defamed, derogatory accusations being made about them, about murder. Like, no one deserves to have a murder pinned on them or to be implicated in it. And you have no evidence to prove it. Just you and dumbass conspiracy theories. No, of course she should catch more lawsuits. People just need to do it. File the lawsuits. And keep it going. So yeah, that'll shut it down. You talking about somebody being shut down? Like, okay, just everybody's trying to bankrupt me. No, you bankrupting yourself, girl. Bye. You doing this to yourself, Candace. You have no restraint, no self-control, no discipline, no idea of the definition of journalism, no idea what you're doing. You're just going through the motions of it for views and to make all this money that you could easily lose in many, many judgments to come from these lawsuits that you're going to lose. Is it worth it? So George is definitely going to get mad because he's like, oh, wait, my family fortune has to go with your lawsuit? Hell no. I'm taking the children and I'm leaving if you don't stop. Like, that's all he needs to say at this point. I'm going to take my 4 kids. I'm going to go home to the UK. You don't knock this off because you're going to bankrupt this entire house. And it's your fault. So, yep. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, Grifton 101. And then Amethyst became a new member. Thank you so much. In 30 minutes, you all, we will be watching Superman in the members only channel. And kick back and relax. And I appreciate you becoming a new member. So congrats on that. Shout out to you. And of course, the last $2 super from Amethyst, host a watch party of the movie Sybil. So you guys make sure you send your suggestions and things. I do post up. I think Superman was just the first one. It was between that and Peacemaker. But send me your suggestions on what you would like to check out. And I've never watched Sybil, so we can definitely watch it. Oldie or goodie or new, I don't care. Show, animated. We said we're going to check out Avatar Last Airbender. It's a great show from Nickelodeon. It was awesome. And check out that. So we're going to hit up a variety of things, and it's just a way for us to be able to hang out and chill and relax and kick back. And you guys consider becoming a member. We're going to have some good fun up in there. So I want to thank all of you for engaging in the chat, for the conversations, for the comments, and for the support. Thank you all for the subs, the likes. So share the content. Make sure you stay on the lookout. I'm going to be doing some, shorter videos and stuff because people have ADHD. Some people just can't get to a 3-hour live. For me, it's nothing to go through it, but some people just can't, unless you speed it up on 1.5 or something like that speed, you might be able to get through it. But, some people just can't. So I'm going to break it down and do some mini videos from these longer live streams. So be on the lookout for that. But until the next one, you guys stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to have a special guest in, John Wilson, and we're going to talk about Candace and her dangerous rhetoric and nonsense. And since now someone's been arrested over her nonsense, maybe she'll learn, maybe not, but who knows. All right. See you all tomorrow. Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.